hello. So they can hear us on the, on Gonzo's channel. But now they can hear us. Okay, I'm sorry. Hey guys, what's up? Can you hear Sharp Boy making noise other than typing?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Yo.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, if you guys are wondering why I'm a little scatterbrained, I'm hosting I'm streaming on 3 different platforms. I'm streaming on Gonzo's, and I'm streaming on Midnight Mayhem. I'm also streaming on my channel as well. So yeah, and no ooh woo oh wee whoa woo. This is not a yaoi manga stream. Sorry, I don't fucking do those, because this is not the time or the place to do it. I don't stream porn on my channel. Sorry. Okay. Alrighty, so let's get down to business to talk about COPPA. COPPA. Fucking, you're in my
COPPA is a general
You're in my
protection
left
act.
ear. Well, not in my right. What do you? I don't know what's going on with your sound. Sorry. Okay, so let's just, like, jump right into it. I'm Kitty, and this is Sharpwing. We're 2 assholes, and we're gonna tell you the fucking shit. Alright, so you all heard about fucking the FTC, COPPA, and YouTube, right? Or COPPA, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I'm gonna throw some music on the background, because, like, I don't really want it to go totally dead air.
But totally dead air.
Totally dead air.
What is your idea of totally dead air?
Well, just want some background music, you know, bring in a mood. It's gotta be a mood.
Yeah, gotcha,
a mood. Alright. I hope you guys, sorry if I'm, like, going really fast and I'm kind of, like, you know, shifting through everything, but I'm gonna try to, let's get into this. Alright. So,
there's a reason I'm big brain boy in this situation. We're
big
good.
brain boy. Alright. But
The big brain boy!
It doesn't mean we can't offend. Oh my god, I'm like fucking tied up in my goddamn wires here, motherfuckers. Okay.
So, yeah, as of right now, we are actually reaching out to 3 separate audiences that all have some indirect relation to one another. For one, Mindless Gonzo's audience, because Mindless Gonzo is a close friend of ours and he's a heavy contributor to the Midnight Media Project. Kitty here, because she's also a heavy contributor to the Midnight Media Project, and most of her community is actually eroded over into the Midnight Mayhem community. And then there's Midnight Mayhem itself, the central hub for all of this. So there's 3 different channels we're streaming to make sure this information gets out to as many people as possible, and they spread it far and wide, because we've got the facts here for you today. And we're not going to be panicky. We're not going to be overreactory. We're not going to screech at you saying if you're a content creator, you're going to get fined $42,000. None of that is practical.
Because you're not.
None of that is practical.
All right.
I'm not going to lean in the direction of giving you legal advice, but I am going to tell you guys what I know from all the extensive research we've been doing over the entire week. 2 weeks almost, in fact.
Let's just first say the main thing, like, if you are a channel, you're not gonna be taken away. Like, let's just say that right now you're not gonna get nuked off of YouTube, because fucking apparently there's a rumor going around that, you know, if you don't make enough money for YouTube, that you're gonna get smited.
That thing was an inherent block of horse shit in the making. It was people not being able to understand and read legalese. When they were talking about termination of a service or withholding of the service to you, and it's no longer monetarily viable, they were talking about stripping features off of YouTube. Like when they removed the direct chatting system they actually used to have. You're no longer able to do that because it wasn't monetarily viable for them to keep it up. Or something they had a long time ago based around the PG rating system. YouTube actually used to have that. There'd be a PG rating system screen that would play before YouTube videos. I had to do research on this, but it was something that exists, and they got rid of it. As to why, I have no fucking clue. That would have been great for bracketeering for advertisers, though. Thanks, YouTube.
Well, but there is a new thing that you can, if you're like a content creator like me or Sharpwing. Are you fucking crying right now?
No, I'm sick.
Oh, well, Morty, you're sick, Morty.
Morty, I'm dying, Morty.
But okay, so basically if you're a content creator like us, you have a way to protect yourself, which is that you go into your channel settings and that you mark it adult. I think my stream died on my end.
Did your stream die on your end? Let's take a look at that.
Oh no, it just stopped. The title card wasn't going. Okay, so anyway, but getting on with it is that your channel will not get smited. Your channel will not get kicked off, is because you could just set it to adult, or there's another setting that I have it on that you guys should definitely do it too, where it's basically you'll get like teens and up from that. And I have to go into my settings really quick to tell you what it is.
All right. Kitty's a little dyslexic on the matter of direct literature.
I am fucking retarded. Tell me to kill myself. Okay, no.
All right, so that's why I'm here. I'm going to outline some key bullet points for the audience, because I'm sure that's pretty much the questions they're asking. So we're going to go down a list here. And first, I'm going to tell you what the questions are. What is COPPA? That's probably a major question you have. Who's affected by COPPA? That's probably a question you have. What counts as child-friendly? Probably a question you have. Does the FTC recognize nuance? As in, does the FTC recognize there's cartoons and shit like that out there for adults? Will the FTC fine me? High likelihood is no. I'm not going to give you direct legal advice, but I will give past legal precedents and information I'm aware of. What will the FTC fine? What amount of money will they fine you if they do fine you? What can I do to avoid a fine? I'm going to lay out some possible, from what I understand, right? I'm not a lawyer. I can't give you direct legal advice. That's illegal. But I can tell you what I know. What happened? So what the fuck happened? What the hell transpired in order for COPPA to be this big situation on YouTube? Where do we go from here? So that big concluding factor, what are things going to look like going forward? We're going to start with what is COPPA, right? So, a big thing, COPPA, not to be confused with COPPA, C-O-P-A, COPPA, C-O-P-P-A, is the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. To go through a few key details and points, the idea was basically back in 1998. This act was established by the Federal Trade Commission, a government-sanctioned commission designed for creating regulations for the market in order to encourage and even in some cases force fair business practice in the market so that the public was not preyed upon by corporations. This was the primary goal of the FTC.
Right, but it
why
was
the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act created? I'm sure a lot of people are wondering.
It wasn't. It was to protect kids from not only, it's like an online safety, not just getting personal information, but I believe also protecting them from people online. Correct?
Yeah, this regulation's not new. This isn't new. This isn't just strictly a YouTube term. This is the law. We're in the big leagues now, ladies and gentlemen. This is a law, a United States governed law, not a joke.
So you might, depending on what your channel settings are, you're possibly going to get fined. But that's jumping a little bit ahead. Let's continue.
That's jumping the gun. That's what caused the panic. People didn't know that because they did not even wait for a reply or a comment from the Federal Trade Commission. Right, so why was COPPA created? In the early 1990s to late 1990s, the internet actually started to grow, thrive, and flourish in our society. And there were a lot of talks in government, public square, and the corporate sphere as to what the importance of the internet would be to the public going forward. Advertisers acted very predatory online because they knew what came with a new landscape was a wild west for advertising perspective. And they could use their new targeted ad systems to reel in gullible children and trick their parents into buying toys and all sorts of different shit.
I remember seeing those on when I was a kid. It was crazy.
However, with those predatory ads came a very, very dark, seedy underbelly of the internet. The idea that the collection of children's information, phone, addresses, names, you fucking name it, all sorts of things you wouldn't want to give to somebody you don't know, right? All those things were actively being collected by corporations so they could deliver more precise ads to the internet. And this was going on since 2 years before 2000. And like, let's get this into perspective, right? In 1998, I was only 2 years old when this act was created. I didn't know what the internet was. We were just freshly getting technology like cell phones and things like that, and they weren't very fancy.
They weren't very common either.
Technology was advancing. You'd already pushed past things like the Commodore 64, and gaming, everything, the landscape of everything was changing as a whole. And you had a whole lot of people that didn't understand this technology or how to circumnavigate it. So government regulations were absolutely necessary to protect people, to protect children, you name it. Yeah, you were 15 back then, MLP Death Dealer. COPPA allows mixed content for both children and adults, but YouTube don't have that option. Yes, that was actually something I was going to get to. What was the whole purpose of this regulation? Was to make sure children's information could not legally be obtained by corporations without the parents' consent. You needed the consent of the child's parents in order to collect their private information for advertising. And this was so parents were made aware that their children's information was potentially being put out there. And as all child protection things go, we're trying to protect a child's innocence. So what do you think they were trying to protect that information from? Just from what you could gather.
Let's let them put two and two together. I'm pretty sure they're smart enough to figure it out. So
yeah. So is COPPA bad? No. In premise, it was actually a very good thing that the FTC stepped in when it did. And it's a very good thing that every decade they actually update this law to stay a date with technology's current standards. They did it early, however, because a coalition of concerned parents bombed the shit out of YouTube in a figure of speech. They didn't actually bomb YouTube, but they did the next best thing. They went to the Federal Trade Commission and they said, look, these people are collecting my kids' information and I'm sick of it. Now, you might say, well, YouTube has a separation between YouTube Kids and YouTube Main. But YouTube made the mistake of every single time they were in a goddamn boardroom saying to their advertisers, oh, we're the #1 site for 6-year-old kids and blah, 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 blah. You get all sorts of fucking kids on your videos here. And now we find the solo crux of this whole thing. The whole reason YouTube wanted to make the site family friendly. Children's toy advertisers. And they just lost their bread and butter.
And originally, it was, we need to be more censored, and I find it very funny that the tables have now turned, that they're coming to channels that are very vulgar, very, PG-13, if you will, maybe even adult, and now they're coming back to the ones that started YouTube really much. I mean, YouTube, even though you had your mixture of, clean content and not so clean content, either way, they're coming back to the more. It's kind of like they're going backwards, and it's good. It's really good especially if you like content creation. For someone like me who likes to curse, to say fuck all the time, and make very from memey, jokey, absurd content that could be deemed either offensive or inappropriate. It's very, in a weird way, I don't want to use the word liberating, but it definitely takes a lot of the edge off now.
Yeah. Like, there were comments made to the FTC. There's a direct thing, a blog the FTC actually posted in response to a lot of these concerns. One of the larger content creators who brought attention to COPPA and the fears people might have had of being falsely branded child-friendly content, because when YouTube came in with compliance with COPPA, they were fined $170 million by the Federal Trade Commission for violation of COPPA. They established a settlement with the FTC that they would make systems and tools in compliance with COPPA to put their content creators in compliance with COPPA. And come January 1st, the FTC was going to do a sweep to see if YouTube complied with COPPA. Now, the thing that got everybody scared was when an FCC chairman got up on a podium and said that content creators were basically a fish in a barrel, and that the FTC did intend to find those people in violation of COPPA as well, individuals as it were. Well, the way the FTC currently understands the law, they think if you own a YouTube channel, you are the current operator of your own fully functional website. That is what they think right now. That a YouTube channel is a website. That it is not merely an extension of one broad website. Now, some of the holes in the COPPA compliance is they think they can hold you accountable for COPPA because you have targeted advertisements and you have control over that and yada, 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 yada. You have control over what's seen as children's content. You have full control as to whether a child's information is collected or not. That this responsibility is possible to be put on you. Well, before it wasn't, but Twitch made a YouTube made a minor tweak recently that actually will put content creators in compliance. You now have the ability to disable targeted ads if you have ads on your channel. You will go to your channel's advanced settings. You will go to the monetization settings. You have the ability to turn off targeted ads. You also have the ability to openly and honestly, in your opinion, tell the algorithm whether you think your channel is child-directed or not. Here's the thing. The FTC actually did make an open comment, and I actually will read some of that off now. Under COPPA, how do I know if my channel is directed to children? Since the FTC and New York Attorney General announced their September 2019 settlement with YouTube for violations of the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act rule. We've heard that question from channel owners, sometimes called content creators. So here, they were referring to us as channel owners. They had been given so much open public comment when COPPA was talked about on the site that they had to respond because they're a federal regulator. They leave open for public comment and they have to address public concerns as they come along. One of the bigger public concerns is almost every YouTuber was concerned that they would be fined for this regulation. YouTube is meant for everybody, not just for kids, so just stop this nonsense. That's true. That's true.
Yes, you could also, if you really want to speak your voice, I don't have the link on hand. If you could, Sharpwing, get it for me, please. But you could...
And the federal... Well, I'm going to hold off on giving them the open comments page because first we have to get through everything. It has to set in their heads before they leave a comment to the Federal Trade Commission that's already been addressed, or the audience outright is of the assumption of things that are just outright false of the commission. That's the goal here. So I will hold off on giving them the comment page, but I do have it. So rest assured, you will get the link. Okay. You will be able to publicly comment. But first, we want to get through all the information we have available for you and not jump the gun like previous YouTubers did. Right. So, yes.
Can you just put your pants and stuff on to get that garbage can bring it back for me, please?
You'll have to give me a bit.
All right.
I'm really in the middle of something.
All right, so I'm just gonna take over for a little bit because Sharpwing got interrupted.
No, I'm going to finish because you're gonna fuck that shit up. There's no question. We're talking some complex shit here that has to be correctly stated. Well, first I have to remember where the hell the whole $42,000 like a big speedy ticket. Yeah, they're not going to charge you $42,000 because as a YouTube content creator, if you're small and doing targeted ads, you can't afford $42,000. The FTC's goal isn't to ruin you. It's to punish you. So a big thing going around is there's a large chance the FTC will take a specific percentage of ad rev you make off of that video if you're in violation of the act. And there's odds are most of these COPPA cases won't even see a court because that's another big thing. If you're in violation of COPPA, they can't just deal you out a fine. First, you got to go to court. All this stuff has to be put in front of a judge. A judge has to see that, read that, decide whether it's against the law or not. That's a big thing. And most people are never, ever, ever, ever going to see a court for being in quote-unquote violation of COPPA for one big reason. They're after big-time players, right? They're not going after Joe Schmo in the middle of rural America to make an example of, they're probably going after somebody with money. Now, that's not direct legal advice. This is just based off of past legal precedent. That never has the FTC ever gone after somebody in the poorest part of America for a slight little arbitrary indifference. And to the person saying that YouTube is not just for kids, yes, the FTC recognized this. That there is content on this site that is not meant for children and not strictly meant for adults. The FTC did recognize this. One of the previous commenters also mentioned this. We are aware of that. We are very aware of that.
I'm checking what's going on Gonzo's end, because, like, I need to keep on that T as well.
Well, those are the comments I'm reading.
Okay. People are apparently having suicidal thoughts on my end, so I'm, like, directing them to the International Suicide Hotline, because I don't want them to go and think these horrible thoughts. I want them to get help.
Don't kill yourself. And
it's
on
not
top
worth it. It's not worth it. It really isn't.
And on top of all else, there is probably a large likelihood that if you say your channel is not directed to kids,
yeah, I want to go.
They're probably just going to believe you. That's another thing too. Unless they have reason to assume you should be under federal investigation and take a further look at, they're probably just going to believe what you say, because that's the path of least resistance.
Right. Like, my channel was never intended for kids, but, you know, kids, like, you know, to look into, like, adult shit, and they'll find it, because I dub a lot of cartoon characters in anime, and I get that, it's colorful, it's bright. Even Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, that's really not a show for kids. It's actually a teen plus adult series. And I just dubbed it for fun, because I'm a voice actor. And a lot of younger anime fans come to my channel, and that's not my fault. Because some of these kids, and I'm not trying to, like, shit on them. I'm not. I'm just saying this is how it goes before even COPPA was instated, is that these kids like to kind of sneak around their accounts and say, I'm older, or I am this age. I'm not saying all of them. I'm just saying I bet a good chunk of them are kids. Because I've gotten, like, a little kid that said, oh my god, this character's 9. I'm 9. I'm, like, thinking, why are you watching me?
Yeah,
like, no shade, no shitting on. It's just, you know, if they're, I guess they're saying I am of age. I am this age. Let me bump up my age. And that's something I told COPPA in my letter. I said, you have to consider the fact that there are kids that are going to bypass your system, and they're going to have a YouTube account and say, oh yeah, I'm 13. Oh yeah, I'm 18. Because, you know, I've been there. We've all been there. We've all wanted to be like an adult because we were so tired of being talked down.
If they lie, that's compliance with COPPA. COPPA did account for that. All you have to do is age gate the site, which technically YouTube did to a degree. The thing where they fucked up was when they said to advertisers, is where they said to advertisers they were the best site for them to go to advertise for kids. And they genuinely thought when they said that in a corporate setting, that wouldn't leave the room.
Well, I also want to address something. Zachary Link says, I'm worried about Pewds and some other big YouTube creators. Okay, so let me just, like, talk about this, because people that are, like, big as Markiplier and PewDiePie, they're not gonna really get that much affected, because they're kind of, like, owned by a company. You see, because Markiplier is technically owned by Disney through Maker Studios. He's not gonna get hit. He's already family friendly, and I bet he has some protective legal contract. PewDiePie, on the other hand, I'm just saying, I think he owns everything, and what he says is pretty much word of his own law and, like, his own community or empire at this point. But yeah, that's that's the way I see it. Again, I'm not, like, I've never owned my own a YouTube empire, if you will, because that's the way I see it with PewDiePie. So I don't think people like that are going to be very much affected at all.
But yeah, essentially, I will link this in Gonzo's chat, the Twitch, wherever.
Okay. If you have
but
your
this-
notes, just send them over and I'll read them out.
I didn't take any direct notes. I just took the bullet points because honestly, the information given here lined it out better than anything I could write.
You can message and email the FTC if you want, because they're going to get yeah, he could be demonetized though. Like, I'm not denying that, like, these bigger content creators can get demonetized. Like, everybody is at risk of getting demonetized. I'm not monetized, fun fact. I don't get monetization.
Yeah, big thing, right? In compliance with COPPA, if you truly do genuinely believe your content is directed towards kids below 13, that's a very important thing, right? Minors under the law are not considered protected under COPPA if they are 13 or above. That is the law. That is a fact I can tell you. Right. That is a fact I can tell you. That's exactly what the legal scripture says. Anyone 13 and above does not fall under COPPA.
Right. And, you know, I again, for those people that are, like, big fans of, like, PewDiePie, you know, the game theorists, I think they're all panicking right now because their main demographic was kids. I'm not saying PewDiePie was. I've always thought of PewDiePie as, like, 16 and up, to be honest. But...
for the mere fact that he swears in his videos, for the mere fact that he references adult themes, there's a high chance...
Bitch lasagna!
Yeah, if somebody gives the FTC bitch lasagna, they're not going to think that channel's for kids. There's no question.
Dude, I would love to have, like, a YouTube, like, you know, music contract and sing, like, fucking bitch applesauce.
And it's not like the FTC probably doesn't know about his N-word scandal. That was all over the media.
Alright, so Spyro MJ Productions says, I'm worried about my channel due to the fact that it has animated characters and I don't know if my channel will survive. Okay, I think it will, because I'm gonna show, I have to get the display up, but once... I'm going to show you guys how to mark your channel safe. And I'm going to physically display it. So you're going to see, like, all the inner guts of my YouTube channel. So.
Which, you gotta be careful about that. You can't show them analytics, but you can show them how a lot of interfaces and stuff work.
No, it's just oh, well, channel analytics are right in front of there.
Yeah. By YouTube terms of compliance, we have to keep our analytics confidential.
Oh, fuck. That means I can't show it. God damn it. All right. Well, then I can walk you through it. I can talk about that. Do you have to, like, do something? Because I can talk about this if you want me to. I actually do have an image that sort of shows what we're talking about. Let me find that. Give me that. But, okay. Everybody knows what YouTube Studio Beta is, right? I'm pretty sure. It's a shit show. YouTube, if you're watching this, the one thing I want you to do is please fix that. That is a horrible beta studio. It's very poorly navigated. Make it a little bit more simplified for the simple peasant folk. Anyway, so the TLDR about how to get to your to make your channel or mark your channel advance or mark a channel for adults is that you go to your main YouTube Studio Beta. You see your dashboard, you see, you know, your channel analytics on the right, and then you see all that. So I want you guys to scroll down to settings. It's like right under, you know, go down to settings. It's right under the dashboard, you know, where the scroll thing, right under there. The, like, it's right before, it's above send feedback, Creator Studio. So it's like bottom left, third up. You click on settings, then you go to general settings. It talks about your currency. We want to go to channel. And then you go to your advanced settings. It'll show up basic info. Click on advanced settings. And then you'll see audience. It says to simplify your workflow by selecting channel settings. If you skip this question, you are required to identify onto each video that it is made for kids. This setting will exist to feature videos. Settings for the individual to override the channel settings. Do you want your channel set made for kids? And they talk about, regardless of your location, you are legally required to comply with the Online Privacy Protection Act, COPPA, and or other laws.
I can say factually, under law, good luck for a United States regulator to try and enforce United States law in other countries across the world.
I'm just reading what I'm seeing here. But you'll see three options. You'll say, yes, my channel is made for kids. No, this channel was not made for kids. I want to review this setting for every video. I have hit, no, my channel is not made for kids. And that saved me because now my channel won't get, nuked, or not really nuked, it's not the proper word.
the fear established is big thing, right? Do you get ads on your videos?
Oh, no.
That's a big determining factor for COPPA right now. If you don't get ads, if you turn off targeted ads, you've complied with COPPA. So if you don't feel safe, turn off targeted ads if your channel has ads. That's all I can say.
I don't have ads on my channel. I'll say that right now, and I can say that.
And
with very much confidence. It doesn't matter if you're a big or small YouTuber, because people are like, I'm a small YouTuber. I'm a small YouTuber too, guys. I don't...
All right. I need to be allowed to speak, but here's the thing,
okay.
right? First off, those of you that are afraid your channel will so because you have animated characters, it all depends on what other content your stuff have. It all depends on context. If you truly and fully believe your videos are not marketed to just children, you need to be honest, regardless of what the FTC says, because I'm about to go down this list. They don't even know what the fuck they're talking about, and I'll explain to you why. All right, so they recap the lawsuit against Google, and it alleges that companies illegally collected personal information from children in violation of COPPA. According to the complaint, the companies collected that information from viewers of child-directed YouTube channels in the form of persistent identifiers that track across the internet, but didn't notify parents and get their consent. Okay, so that's why this whole thing went down. To use the words of COPPA, directed to children, the purpose of this requirement is to make sure that both YouTube and channel owners are complying with the law. Basically, that you're not collecting children's information. The whole in this law is we never see that child's information.
Right.
We don't personally collect that child's information.
Right.
Nor do we control the systems involved with the collection of those advertisements. That's a hole in the law. You could fight that in court. I do believe so.
Right, because we're just the creators. We don't really do the inner workings of the data collecting that comes through YouTube. We just post the video, and then, you know, traffic comes wherever it comes from, depending on what your channel settings. Even before this came, this crashing down into our face, and you know what really grinds my gears? I'm gonna let you finish. But
right. Go ahead.
What really fucking like pisses me off is that it really makes it look like, and it's really shitty for YouTube to kind of like, well, it's kind of like the creator's fault, you know, in a weird way, even though it wasn't our fault. People have changed just to keep their livelihood. This is not just somebody's hobby. These are some people's like way of making money, living. This is how they get the food in their stomach. I mean, you know, more power to you if you could actually make the dough on here. It's not really a wise career. Have a side hustle, please.
Have a side hustle. Also, be careful, because even if you do things like sell merchandise, you have to be careful about whose information you collect for that as well.
Right. And, you know, I think it'd be really helpful if that you gave me all these links so I can, like, not only post them in my chat, but we can post them down, and, like, Gonzo could post it in the description of his video as well, so that people...
All right. There's what I'm reading from.
I'm gonna botch this person's name. Jeremiah Bridstow, I'm sorry, says, so the game theory was wrong then. They're not good. They're not going to be fine people. Good. Also, I'm going to spread this video around. So let's like give them the right information as well. Like,
again, I cannot give you a direct statement. I'm not your lawyer. It is against the law for me to definitively tell you what will and won't happen in a court of law. When I say you could fight in court the statement the FTC has made, the whole point I'm making there is you're going to have to go to court in order to fight it.
Right.
I am not saying you're safe or out of the green zone. I'm saying you can fight it. But that's a possibility with any law that's passed if you can come up with precedent.
Right.
That's not a statement of victory. I can't guarantee you that. I'm not a lawyer.
Red Langio 2 says, it's like a big scam from the ads. People want to spread this video around, so I would like to, like, source the information that you TLDR'd it for. Because we have this, like, we have a chat that's called Backstage, and it's not just for Midnight Mayhem, it's kind of like... I've
literally been personally sending you the images and stuff I'm talking about.
Okay. I will grab some, I will take these, and, I will...
And that was so Ricky didn't ask, what the fuck's all this? Yeah.
Yeah, so I get it. All right, so let me I'm going to place this in my chat currently, and then as well as the Discord. I know you're probably like, well, you can't really do it with the I'm just gonna link the photo so that people know what they're gonna be looking for in my chat, and then I'm also do you have?
Yeah, you can link the photo. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just link the things to Gonzo so that he could do it, and then you could just drop it in the Midnight Media.
Well, I already linked the FTC news thing that I've been reading from.
No. What I'm saying is that put the links in the chat for them if there are people watching on Twitch. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I gotta put the link to the image of the child protection system for these.
Okay.
This is the big, amazing feature YouTube has in order to solve all of your problems, ladies and gentlemen. Please notice the sarcasm.
YouTube, you are a gem. I'll tell you that much. Oi, but yeah, but no, we when we found out about this information, especially because like we actually did. I won't lie. Like we all kind of. I mean, I did.
We all panicked. We all panicked,
yeah,
and it took.
I started crying because I know this sounds really dumb and fucking retarded, but I'll tell you why I got emotional. It's not because like, oh, it's the money. I don't make any money off of YouTube. I don't. You can even ask Sharpwing.
All right, all of this is law, and law is based off of precedent, battles for common sense. And for those who did watch MatPat's video, MatPat actually did bring up a very good point. He sat down and personally spoke to Susan Wojcicki, and one big point she made is she is always sitting down with federal regulators, most of which don't even own a cell phone. So you tell me how much they actually know about today's technology, let alone today's culture.
I mean, you could technically say it's like, let's use the phrase boomer, but you know,
it's a little less than boomer. I have to say that too.
People that are like, it's like a mixture of old and like, you know, the previous generation, and then you got us, and then you got the post millennials growing up, and it's like, you know, you got like a really mixed mash of people that are trying to say, no, this is not, you know, coming from a modern perspective, but these people are coming from a past perspective. And what really got me upset when I found out, because like I did want to say that before you cut in, is that I wasn't crying because of, you know, I was very upset because it's like it felt like I got in a place to you know, to create anymore. Like you have other video sites, but the fact that, you know, when you make a community and you make connections with people like, you know, Hellhound, you know, Avery the Dairy, you know, these people that come back, Super Hooper Duper Trooper, you know, the people that you end up turning to be your friends, whether they, you know, you may not talk to them as much, but like, you know, you make connections, and that's what I was very upset about losing, is the connections that I have with people, because not everybody has like a social media platform. Like, no, not everybody has a Twitter, not everybody has an Instagram. I know that's weird to say, but it's the connection of that you make with these people, and you know, it makes you feel honored that you could have these connections. That's what really what a YouTuber should be, is to make raw, real connections with people, and you know, to kind of inspire them. Like, I think that's what a YouTuber should be, and that's what made me upset the most, because like I just love the fact that, you know, people you know, I've had people come to me and say, your video like helped me come through so much things, and I can understand that, especially somebody who like loves Shane Dawson. Like, dude, he was the person that got me into YouTube, and I want that damn palette. So I mean, that's why it hit me in a personal spot. I don't know about you, but it felt like someone fucking, you know, took a knife and dragged it through my heart.
Right. And I don't think you have to worry about any of that. I say I don't think, and I will repeatedly say I don't think. I will keep making this a statement of my opinion, because I don't want anyone here to sue me if they try to take the FTC to court and lose.
Super Hooper Duper said,
and you can. That's the law. That's the law. I'm going to be fully transparent with you. If I give you guys straight up legal advice and I am not a professor of law, that's like a person who's not a doctor giving you doctoral advice. They can be sued for that.
Right, exactly.
I won't do that.
Yeah, so
I will just tell you what I know, and you've got to make what you can of the facts.
For all, like, I don't like to say for all entertainment purposes, because this is not. We're just passing along information. We're not, like, it's a very weird line. But
Yeah, I will be fully transparent with you and say,
yeah.
if I make any literal statement as a proportioner of law or a lawyer, or I make any definitive statement of fact of the outcome, you can sue me for it. That is full on transparency here, and I want to avoid that.
Right, and I was gonna say something, but oh yes, another reason why we wanted to do this live stream is because, not only people were coming at it from a very emotional standpoint, but you have to get over the emotional hump and dig a little deeper. You gotta dig a little deeper, and
look at it this way, right? When YouTube originally started as a community and content creators and the platform collectively grew, it did that without advertisers. It did that without an algorithm curating and recommending people shit. The thing that has people defeated by this system that they think is unbeatable, it's a dumb machine. Every person can learn how to work around a machine, especially when you can literally click on the 3 dots, click not interested, and outright tick a checkbox that tells the algorithm not to recommend you a certain channel anymore if you don't want to see it. Statement of fact, that's something you can do right now. If you look down in the up next section, if you look down in the videos the thing's recommending you see one channel you don't want to see, click on those 3 dots, click not interested, tick that checkbox to tell the damn thing not to give you a channel anymore. Learned helplessness, people. You got to learn to utilize tools and not, become that person that falls into a mindset of helplessness. There's a reason there's third-party websites. There's a reason there's Discord groups. You can utilize those and the communities those things establish in order to keep pumping out and promoting content. It's not helpless. You've just got to adapt.
All right. There are some people in the chat are definitely chiming in, so let's acknowledge them. And they Mega, aka Deacon's Cartoon, says, and he's an animator and we know him personally. He says, I hope this doesn't end up screwing over animators. If it ends up messing with animators, there will be another great site called Newgrounds. You know what? I want to bring up something that Newgrounds is a cool site for anybody who wants to do art, animation, voice acting, whatever. But I do want to but it's a nice alternative for them to go. And I did bring this up to the FTC. I sent them a letter when everything was first coming out. I said,
so did I.
I told them, I said, there is adult animation. What about Family Guy? What about American Dad? Are you going to call those cartoons?
They actually addressed those sorts of comments in the thing I linked. They addressed that.
I didn't see that. I made that a week. The letter is a week old, so
it's in here.
But I did recommend a couple of channels like The Odd Ones Out, John Tron, Game Grumps, things like that, for them to actually sit down and see. I'm not saying that they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna, but I'm just saying that it's. Yeah. I put them down there as sort of a place for them to see because you got things like BoJack Horseman going on. I mean, and then you got adult anime. Fucking Adult Swim. I use Adult Swim as a comparison with Cartoon Network. As sort of a metaphor for them. I said, Cartoon Network has a block for kids, and then they have a block for adults. It's kids get out of the pool. And I know it's different than YouTube, where it's like the Wild West, but
it's not going to be the Wild West anymore, but in all intents and purposes, the people that love these sites have to be willing to fight for what they believe, because here's the bottom line. The law doesn't hate you. It wants to protect people. It's just out of touch. When you follow the context and nuance of there are lawmakers who have never used a cell phone nowadays, what do you get? That's not malice, that's ignorance. So the law doesn't hate you, the law is not out to get you. That's the first thing I will say factually.
Let's see. Zengo says Newgrounds is shutting down from what I heard 2020 and somewhere around the spring. Well, I never heard about that before. That must be new.
Neither did I. That is new.
If there's a cited source, let us know.
Yeah.
Let's see. Codename Life says Brain Hole mentioned a petition that's going to stop that. He also mentioned that there is a commenting on their website. Oh yes,
Yes, that's what I'm referring to. That's what I'm referring to. This is a blog responding to some of those concerns, written by the FTC on the official FTC.gov website. If you scroll up, we already linked it in the chat a little bit ago, but I'll link it again just for extra measure.
Okay, I will too. So you can read along with us in your book. When you hear the chimes, that means it's time to turn the page.
Ding! We'll try to keep the mood light because we also, again, we're not trying to do what other content creators did and stir up a panic.
Before we
that is not productive.
Right. Before we go into this, Mega touched upon the whole thing with Newgrounds. It says Newgrounds is not shutting down. It's Flash that's shutting down in 2020. As well as Dom, Sparrow, Uchiha. So, yes.
It's okay, Super. You've always got fur affinity.
That's all the anime titties.
You'll just have to become a furry. I'm sorry, man. You'll have to deal.
Alright, them shutting down. Okay. Alright. COPPA is kind of a dumb move. Zengo says, it's not a dumb move in a long shot because these people are trying to keep kids safe. Like, that's their goal. They're trying to keep children safe from not only collecting their personal data, but they're also trying to keep them safe in general, if I'm correct, like from predators and things like that.
It's more so these regulators don't know about the 2020, 2019 internet. They've been out of the loop for that long. It's going to be a learning curve. And now that they are actually moving to try and actively regulate some aspects of the internet, they have to be actively involved with it, meaning they're going to learn a lot. And the same thing happened with the Energy and Commerce Commission when they had to do research on the internet in order to try Facebook, in order to try Google, all these different sites for the collection of people's private information. Because a large thing, the government to some degree wants to outlaw targeted ads because they collect your private information in order to deliver advertisements to you. And as of right now, that's a violation of the Privacy Act. Even though some people might argue the Patriot Act then directly violates the Privacy Act, we're not having that debate here, so don't bring it up.
COPPA isn't bothering me. It's because I do gameplay commentaries. Okay, I don't think he was here earlier.
Cuss. Cuss. Cuss, 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 cuss. Just cuss. I'm kidding, but that might be a way to circumvent it. I'm not lying to you.
Alright, so let's review that because there are people coming in now and it's kind of late into the game. So YouTube is now asking for people that mark their channel. You can go into your advanced settings. You go to the left-hand bottom, third up is the settings of your channel. I want you to click on that. And once you click on that, you can go into your channel settings and you'll see general channel uploading default to community. I want you to go to channel and you'll see your basic info. Then you click on advanced settings and then it'll say audience. And then you say no, because it'll ask you, yes, this channel's made for kids. No, this channel's not made for kids. I want to review settings for every video. I hit no because that keeps me safe and I can curse like a motherfucking trucker. So, and cursing also, because I feel, because didn't they say that they were gonna go and review?
They are not going to recommend a video to kids with swear words. They are not going to recommend a video to kids with graphic violence. There are obvious things that have a 98% chance of being protected under COPPA, but there's always a chance you got some dipshit judge out there. This is just the way the law works. You got to roll with the punches. This is life.
Right.
And you gotta fight. You gotta fight for what you believe. You gotta fight for what you want in life.
Right.
That's the bottom line.
And you also can individually review your videos as well. And do you want to go over that, or did you want to bring something else
up? For what?
The when you upload a video onto YouTube, it's different. You can mark it for adult, children.
Yeah,
and
you can.
In between.
You can mark it for adults or children. I'll just for many people that haven't seen this system yet, if you go into the video settings, you will now be greeted by an option to decide on your audience. And if you truly believe that your video should not be sat in front of a child, then you click no, it's not made for kids.
Right.
Now, things like Baby Shark and stuff like that, they're in bigger trouble because they're up in the air in a very gray area.
Baby Shark. Sorry.
Yeah, it could be argued that that could appeal to kids, but the FTC also addresses that. I would really much like to read this now.
Okay.
All right. The big one everybody's been asking and constantly directing in this one. Y'all are just going to be steaming at the fucking ears when you hear this, but at the same time understanding when you really think about it, which I'm going to give you the chance to do. How channel owners can determine if their content is directed to children. The big one. Something everyone wants to know. The definitive answer. Is there one? There's a punchline at the end of this, but you just gotta wait to hear it. Under COPPA, there is no one-size-fits-all answer about what makes a site directed to children, but we can offer some guidance. But the answer? From the FTC themselves, we don't actually fucking know. They're as confused as you. Why? Because the FTC might be old people, but they're old people that recognize that they're old people. Why do you think they actually extended public comments to December 9th?
Exactly. And originally we thought it was, they would shut down comments, but that wasn't the case. We read that wrong. Also, Dig Duke says, oh, and a warning for the mobile users that don't really like have a computer or upload shit from their phone is that the settings are not there. They yet to have put that on the mobile device. So thank you, Dig Duke.
Now, what they have got is based off of past precedences, and this is all very vague for one selective reason. Every judgment and review from the FTC will be case by case, meaning they have to thoroughly review your channel and all aspects about it before they deliver down a verdict, because what they have endowed to them by the state is prosecutorial power. What they have is the power to subpoena you and take you to court and then have you fined under the court's jurisdiction. They can't just slap a fine on you. They actually have to prosecute you. That's a big thing. That's a common misconception. They cannot just throw down a fine. If you say no, if you dispute it, then it goes to the next process, the court system. And for any of you that have ever been to court, you know how long and grueling that process is just for a speedy trial.
I have.
Yeah, Kitty's got personal experience with the court.
Oh my god. Like, I mean, mine wasn't as bad. It was all about my insurance shit.
So but before you continue though, thinking on that, let's use common sense here, people. How many people at a time do you think the FTC is taking to court? They're a government agency. They've got means, but woo, a trial is still a speedy expenditure, and you have to think. Eventually, the judge is going to get sick of seeing repeat cases. This is why legal precedent exists. There are points where judges will inform other judges of verdicts they laid down, and a judge will be able to decide whether they agree with that and they're just going to go forward with that verdict, or if they have something to deliver to the table that challenges that. This is how our law works. It's subject to change in and of itself. This is the unique thing about America, by the way. A lot of courts don't do that. They're just stone-clad in what the law is. Whereas judges of the United States, first off, if you're in a criminal court, you have a presumption of innocence until you're proven guilty. They have to prove you're guilty with preponderance of the evidence.
Say you murder somebody and you saw him murder and there's video evidence, you're still proven until it's guilty.
Yeah, you're still innocent until it's proven guilty.
It's kind of fucked, but...
You have to make the judge and a jury of your peers doubt you, basically.
I've been in jury duty, and let me tell you, that is a grueling-ass process, and I was one of the people that got pulled out and had it, because it was an odd number, so they picked me, and they put me in another room. So,
it's not perfect. It's not perfect, but it's better than being directly tried by the state that has an agenda.
Right.
Whereas in most cases, especially in criminal court, you're just tried by the public. The courts will set it up, but you're tried by like a jury of random people that live in that area that were just called to jury duty. That's not a bad thing, by the way. That's much better than the court systems a lot of other countries have.
Yeah, you're
and
like,
in this case,
you're dead.
Violation of federal regulation would either be civil court or the superior court of a state. I would have to look into that.
Majestical Discomfort said, I deleted all my videos this morning so that I wouldn't have to deal with any of this bull. Well, you didn't really have to delete them. I'm sorry to say, you could have just set your channel to not for kids and you'll be fine. And I know there's a lot of people out there that play video games. I'm one of those people. I play Overwatch, Pokemon, you name it, I played it. And a lot of the games I play are geared towards everyone or a kid rating because I find them fun personally. It doesn't mean that you're gonna get shot down by the FTC if you mark your channel and your video adult. Or there was like another, what was the other option that you can mark your video as?
Well, first off, if people are gonna go fucking hysterical in the chat calling us communists, you're gonna get put in timeout.
Communist?
Alright?
What?
If you go on a fucking political spiel about a legal regulation, talking about how fucking regulations are communism or whatever, shut the fuck up.
Wait, who is
Do us a favor,
about
look at how much of a jackass you sound like in someone's comment section.
Wait,
that's the first thing.
Wait, who is saying that? There's nobody here saying that.
First off, we don't have a communist agenda. You're a fucking retard. I gotta go off on this person, so hold on.
Wait, context. Where is this happening?
The Twitch!
Oh.
Okay, there you go. I already put the person in timeout, but I gotta address this directly because I'm not gonna put up with it. Calling us communists, talking about Ed Markey, whatever, this has to do with none of that. COPPA is hyper bad. Clownfish TV did research on it. Citation needed. Show us the research Clownfish TV did. We didn't see any of that. You know what we got it from? Directly from the Federal Trade Commission. Directly from YouTubers that were assessing the situation. Directly from internet lawyers that were assessing the situation. Where did you get your information? Stop calling us communists. Stop being a fucking idiot. Act like a regular person that doesn't have a political fucking bent. Shut up, you retard. Okay, we're done here.
Well then, that fucking happened. Hey.
I'm not gonna put up with that. I'm sick of these people. And I think I got the point across.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I had to call that person out. This is just getting ridiculous. They spammed the fucking chat with a bunch of shit about communism and stuff. It didn't apply to the conversation whatsoever. They were applying ill intent to us when we're just trying to explain what we know about COPPA. I apologize in advance for that. But I'm not going to put up with that level of spam. Next time, we're just going to ban somebody who does that. Because I want to get through this.
Well,
right. So, where was I, Kitty?
I don't know. You just kind of went off on communism, and I'm just kind of like, what the fuck is going on? It kind of just came out of left field, so I'm just sitting here.
It was okay. To put it into perspective, this person just went on a fucking tirade in the Twitch chat. They got put in timeout. That's the short and simple of it. The longer part of it was I specifically went into what they were bitching about, explained where we got their information from, and then asked for the source they were fucking talking about. All right, I will cite this by saying the United States court system is not perfect. But would you rather just be declared guilty or have a chance in court? Those are your options. Think about it that way. Instead of sitting here going, oh, the government's evil, people's evil, all that, just think with some nuance. Think that the guy sitting next to you is your mom or your dad or your best friend or your coworker. The world's not that evil when you put it into perspective. I've been out there, I've worked. I'm not going to put up with this political propagandist bullshit anymore. It's not real. That's not real people. That's not real shit. That's stuff that's been put into their head by fucking ads and the internet. Another problem with the internet, by the way. We're not having it here. I'm trying to help people.
Alright, so there's somebody in Gonzo's chat, a couple of people, and I'm going to read them off now. So someone said, Thanos Orange. They said, hello, I am going to overthrow the US government. Hello, Thanos Orange. I would love to have, I love your icon. That's Jimmy Neutron. Alright, Cameron Steers says, at Mindless Gonzo, if a YouTuber wants to make videos about My Little Pony reviews or Gmon or Source Filmmaker videos, what would they have to make their channels, adult or made for kids?
What was the question again?
They basically want to know if they made animations and wanted to make videos about My Little Pony, would that be geared towards kids or
depends what else is in it, because you could argue that some of the My Little Pony animations that are made for Newgrounds would never in a million years be recommended to children ever.
Look, I don't want to know what you do on your Saturday nights, and that's not my MO.
I'm not talking about pornography. There's also dark adult subjects like, all right, let's put this into context. Let's give you a specific example. Everybody here, do you think Hot Diggity Demons videos should be recommended to children? Openly and honestly.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, let's cite specific examples, which is what the FTC didn't do. And we're going to leave this up to your opinion. I'm not going to tell you what the right answer is. Just give us your opinion on that. And then give that opinion to the FTC when we're done here. Give those examples. Give that information to the FTC because they will look it over. They have to. It's open public comment.
Lancer737 said, bullshit. Alexander Cortez is pushing a communist agenda. Clownfish TV is
oh my
source,
god.
And they show their fucking source.
Okay, then give us the Clownfish TV link.
Thanos Orange says, please don't hurt me. We're not gonna hurt you. I like your name. You're cool. Alright. So, let's see. Somebody on my end said, what about toy reviews?
Again, dependent on context. If you're Ryan's toy review, absolutely yes. I would say you will until we fully understand the law, you will probably have to take precautions that would never in a million years make a parent think that video should be watched by kids, in which the responsibility will fall on them. Technically, this responsibility shouldn't really fall on you because you don't control YouTube's advertisements.
Well, it's not even that.
But it's more complicated than that.
When I wrote my letter to the FTC, I said, you know, their favorite YouTuber that they're watching are not going to say, oh, little Johnny, don't click on that link. That's a virus. Or, Susie, don't buy that product. It's not aimed towards you. You know, the internet is not really their babysitter. And I think that's a concept that really needs to be broken. While there are cool things that kids can learn from YouTube, maybe to do a craft project, maybe to learn something research-wise, or watch a documentary or things like that, there are a lot of good things on YouTube. But there are some like target advertisement or things that, you know, children shouldn't click on. So that's one thing. YouTube is not anybody's babysitter.
Yeah, they're not. YouTube's not anybody's babysitter. We're not anybody's babysitter. But everyone's required to comply with the law. Right. So they've already said they don't have any clear guidelines on what indicates for children. So here we go. We're gonna dive into this together, folks. To be clear, your content isn't considered directed to children just because some children may see it. However, if your intended audience is kids under 13, you're covered by COPPA and have to honor the rules requirements. Right. Vague and specific at the same time. How is that possible? Well, it's like looking at a law and saying it is, but it isn't. And that's because every law is interpreted by the courts and changes over time to fit what the current culture is or what society does nowadays. Like the repeal of net neutrality, whether you agree or disagree with that. But basically, if you do not think that your video is directed to kids under 13, so like if you think you'll gather the attention of older minors, of teenagers, that's fine. That's not who COPPA's targeted at. essentially, be honest with yourself. That's the only advice I can give you. At that point, I can't guarantee whether the commission will stay true to their word or not. But you, the creator, put your foot down firmly in the sand and say, my target audience is not children, if that is truly what you believe. Try standing up and fighting for what you believe in for a change, rather than waiting to be told what to do. That being said, we're going to continue forward. The rule sets out additional factors the FTC will consider in determining whether your content is child-directed. The subject matter, visual content, the use of animated characters or child-oriented activities and incentives, the kind of music or other audio content, the age of models, the presence of child celebrities or celebrities who appeal to children, language or other characteristics of the site, whether advertising that promotes or appears on the site is directed to children, and competent and reliable empirical evidence about the age of the audience. So essentially, they probably have to dive into your YouTube analytics and learn what your target audience is there. So the determination of whether content is child-directed will be clearer in some contexts than in others. What does that mean in legal terms speak? This is case by case. Like, if I were to be the FTC, what they're essentially saying right here and right now is, until we look at your channel, until we look at your videos, we don't know whether it's for kids or not. So just mark those videos however you see fit.
Let's see.
I doubt they're going to fine you because you got it wrong based off of an arbitrary instance. Because I think another thing, they're specifically looking for malicious intent. So like Jake Paul, specifically going out of his way to predatorily convince children to buy his YouTube merch, which is illegal.
Buy that merch.
Because he needs their information in order to sell it to them.
Red Lake Leo 2 says, kids, stay away from violent videos, old videos that we're looking at prank calls and gone wrong videos. Like, pranks gone wrong, I think is what he's saying. So there.
I don't want to get any further into the guy that was banned from the Twitch chat, but it was rather he was calling us communists because we weren't immediately responding to his horse shit that he spammed in the chat. And I don't know whether he was trolling or joking.
I'm looking at the chat. I'm moderating 2 other ones.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Twitch and Gonzo's thing, so that's why I acted.
God, if this is
to put it plain and simple, you want to ask us a question, ask us a question. If you've got a source we haven't checked, go ahead and say you've got a source. One of us will PM you or whatever we can do to get that information from you,
right.
and we will address it here on this stream.
Okay.
Don't throw a temper tantrum in the chat saying we're communist propagandists trying to get a bunch of people hurt. That is dishonest. You're being a jackass. Take a step back and think about what it is you're saying about another person who's giving you no reason to reasonably believe, unless you are anti-vaxxer levels of crazy, why we are communists. That's all I'm saying. The context applies because it was in the Twitch chat. I saw this motherfucker just spam the shit out of the chat. I'm not putting up with it.
Apparently that same guy also spammed my Twitch invoice, LMAO.
I don't know why the fuck people do that.
Okay.
So stupid.
So there are some people, they said, Dom Sparrow Uchiha says, God, if this is the Jake Paul downfall, please let it. Blazing Light GT86 says, do those dumb 3 a.m. videos count? Like, not kids.
They could. I can't make any definitive statements of fact, but I love these comments. Yeah. You guys are great.
Yeah, I love me comments. Zengo says, in all honesty, responsibility falls on the parents allowing their kids on the internet. Yeah, that's
it does.
True. I mean,
it absolutely does.
Because a lot of kids, especially, our generation that wanted to have kids, they like everybody parents differently. I can't say if you parent your kid right or wrong, but if I was a parent, and I'm speaking of my own personal, I would not let my child be on the internet unless if it was for a school project or something that had to be either educational. Until they were old enough and responsible enough to know safety procedures online, then I would get them their own iPad, computer, what have you. I would at least wait until they're 14 or 15, where they're at least somewhat to understand and comprehend, because I still see between the ages of 14 and 12 and under, like, kind of like kids. Maybe even 16, I would wait to get them their own computer or something. I wouldn't even get them a phone because there are so many predators out there. This is, like, not just, you know, people collecting data.
Yeah.
This is people that are going to prey on kids, and kids shouldn't be on the internet unless they're either, there's parental block. But even then, they're smart enough to get around it. So it's like, you might as well wait and let them be fully educated about things like that. And I don't like to be strict on my kids if I had kids, but sometimes you gotta be. And I don't like that restriction on kids, but I would do it just to keep them safe because I love them. How about those creepy Spider-Man and Elsa videos, says IceCat9.
I have no idea what the fuck Black Knight Leader is doing, but I'm telling you right now, if you don't cut your shit out and act civil, we're gonna have a problem, buddy. I'm calling you out directly. Bring it.
Oh, God.
I dare you. Final warning. All right. This guy is just being fucking crazy. I'm sorry, guys.
Are you sure he's just not trolling you, dude?
He might be trolling. Either way, I'm not putting up with it tonight. That's just the bottom line here. So you do you, but I'm gonna do me. And you're not gonna like it.
Alright. Those gotcha will perish. Oh, I know what they're talking about. The gotcha videos where they have like the cute chibi little anime thingies. Blazing Knight thought those creepy Spider-Man and Elsa videos were gone. I thought they're still around. Are they still a thing?
They're mostly gone, and that's not what this is about. This is about the collection of children's private information. So when you're talking about that, we're talking about targeted advertisements. I do agree, yes, parents should be monitoring their kids and stuff like that when they get on things like YouTube and stuff like that. But we don't know who the coalition of parents is. For all we know, it could be a coalition of parents that know there are tons of ignorant parents that aren't going to be responsible about their kids. That is not zero reason to protect the kids from predatory corporate practices, right? Shitty parents is no reason for corporations to act predatory towards kids. Can we at least agree on that statement? Can we go, yeah, fuck those guys, that's shitty. And if there's anybody that wants to come out there and go, you know what, we need to do something about these guys, that's okay. Right? So just because parents are negligent doesn't mean you shouldn't care about kids. I've got a niece and a nephew myself, and I do have a problem with pedophiles finding their information. If the FTC wants to help protecting that, that's fine. What I do have to state is I am still in alignment with a lot of the content creators here. My nieces and nephews don't need protection from me. My cousins don't need protection from me. That was my problem. They need protection from people that aren't me.
Amazon Echo. Let's see, this is why I'm not having kids, says Super Hooper Duper Trooper. He says, unless if I'm getting pinned down and gun pointed at my head. Don't worry, I'm not reproducing either. You're fine. A lot of people aren't really having kids nowadays. It's a personal choice. But, you know, I think in an overall, like, aspect, you do have a chance to voice your, Hellhound says, Rebecca Caillou getting his driver's license.
Rip Caillou gets his driver's license. Oh, God. Right. Oh, God.
Oh, you guys are great. I love these comments. But yeah, no, it's... Marcette said, God, I remember when those awful kid videos started popping up like crazy. I doubt COPPA will ever solve anything at all. So many folks in a panic.
What they will solve is targeted ads. Like, regardless of what goes on here, COPPA is a solid regulation for taking care of children's information being collected to deliver ads to them. Well, however, that runs a different risk. Like, all right, you're concerned about yourself, but think about it this way. Targeted ads actually account for a large percentage of the money that a lot of YouTubers make, including children's YouTubers. And that could be moms and dads that were just trying to make friendly videos for kids. They are now making much less money than everybody else. And that's basically disincentive to keep making videos for kids.
Right.
Which, that's a bad thing, right? If you look at the situation and go, you know what, kids should have things to watch too. That's fine. I have nothing against the existence of the YouTube Kids app. I don't, personally.
I think, didn't they, like, I'm not trying to derail the conversation, but two things I wanted to point out that I remember. Didn't they wanted to take that away, the YouTube Kids app, along with turning off comments? Was that real or not?
Yeah. What was happening was pedophiles were time-stamping videos where kids were in very suggestive poses, and they were all in these little inner circles.
Ew.
And no. There's a very, very good reason as to why they disabled comments to kids' videos. You would say, oh, they could go after the specific commenter. Do you know how many millions of comments a minute are put on each and every single YouTube video that exists on the site? At some point, some of that responsibility falls onto the community too, to report it. So, like, one thing I will give back here, if you really think these things are a problem on the site, I'm not saying to go out of your way and find that shit. It's about as easy for you to do that as it is for YouTube staff to do that. But if you happen to come past these violations, report that shit. Seriously. Right? The people that work there aren't malicious.
No.
The people on the team coding the site aren't malicious. They're just people doing their job. Let's get that out there too.
Like I said,
you go to a job, you work, you're not personally involved with the company you work for. You're not like, oh, I love this company and I love my bosses and I love this and that. Everybody's not like that.
Right. Like I said this before. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and just because you work at a company doesn't mean you have blind loyalty to a brand either. That's the first thing I want to get out there. Like when people say, fuck YouTube, make it specific what you're talking about. You know you don't mean the people just trying to do their job. You know you don't mean the people working in cubicles. You know you don't mean the people just trying to make a day-to-day salary. You're talking about Wojcicki. You're talking about the corporate end of things. Maybe you're talking about the unknown board of directors every corporation has, right? Be specific. That's the first thing I would request from this audience going forward.
Right, and, you know, I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking, like, I'm going to say this now. I don't think Susan Wojcik is a bad person. I think she's honestly kind of like a puppet on a strings at this point. I think other people are controlling her in a weird way. She's just kind of signing forms and she's just doing her job. Yeah, you could say, oh, she's reading them. I have this weird gut feeling that she's kind of just mindlessly like signing away in a weird way. That's just my gut feeling anyway. They're a corporation and they want to make money by any means necessary. Right.
Now that they can't make money off of kids' content, what I predicted would happen is exactly what's happening.
Right.
Now, a lot of people might not know this, but there is a positive for those of you who make edgier content. You're probably going to get rated R movie advertisers because YouTube is actually working to do that, which is something they should have done in the first fucking place.
They should have installed this system, I want to say, a long time ago. Like when it became more corporate and when YouTube was sold, they should have you know, put their ducks in a row a long time ago, and now it's blowing them up in their face. Like they wanted to be TV so bad and they've done everything to become mainstream TV, and now they have to revert back to the way it used to be. And you know what, for content creators this is a blessing. And you know, and Marset said something. God, I remember what. It's like it feels like they're purposely taking the U out of YouTube. Well, I think with this whole fiasco going on, it's starting to put the U back into it in a weird.
Like it'll have to, because the biggest thing, right? No brand can succeed unless it appeals to people. Right. They're losing that appeal really damn fucking fast.
Exactly.
Right now, they're hemorrhaging
here's
money.
Here's the thing that you guys need to take away from it. You actually have the power to make YouTube what it is and what it isn't. We've always had this ability. Sure, it's run by a corporation. Sure, the reason why we're all on YouTube is for what reason? We all want to get noticed. It doesn't matter what talent we have. We all want to get out there. We all want to get noticed. We all want to be seen on stage. It doesn't matter if you do artwork, animation, building videos. It doesn't matter. You just want to be seen, and we want our chance to shine.
If you don't want to see those mainstream talk show channels and stuff, I got advice for you. If you see them in your recommendations right now, do me a favor. If you do not want to see them, do this right now. There's 3 little dots right next to the title and thumbnail of that Stephen Colbert video or whatever you see. Click on those 3 little dots. Click not interested. And then there will be a secondary thing that shows up for a checkbox. Do not show me this channel anymore. I don't want to see this channel anymore. Problem solved. Problem solved.
So this is a funny comment that Super Hooper Duper Trooper came in and say, wait, does that mean that adult products can have advertising? Come to me for all your dildo and fleshlight advertisement. Take me!
If YouTube had common sense, that's the way it should have been in the first place.
What's really interesting? There are people out there that get sponsored by a sex shop called AdamandEve.com.
There should have been a rated R YouTube, there should have been a YouTube main, and there should have been a YouTube Kids. All 3 should have been a factor.
Right.
And they all should have had advertisements and different protocols to go by, but that would have just cost the company so much money in the short term, which they can't stand. But they don't realize they probably would have made everybody happy and made more money in the long term.
Let's see. The only thing I want the YouTube thing to do is to fix their AIs. Also, doesn't rated R ads mean more revenue than usually get? I believe that was turning into the case.
Well, one big thing, rated R ads means more revenue than you usually get, because guess what? All that money for targeted ads that kids creators were usually getting, yeah, that's going to the people that can now do targeted ads.
And that was Blazing Light GT86. I'm trying to read off everybody's names so that we feel like we're addressing your question and you feel like you're acknowledged. So bear with me. I'm a little bit dumb.
So it might make you feel a little bad, but because of the changes to YouTube, basically people who don't fall under the lines of COPPA are making more money off the backs of other people. Try not to think about it. YouTube did that, not you. But that's kind of what happened. That's just the way the dice fell. You're not a bad person because it happened, but that is the way it fell.
I did want to talk about the AI system because I remember reading and hearing somewhere that people at YouTube are going to start manually reviewing shit, and the AI is going to learn like
they've
words.
Been doing that.
Well, it's not just that. Well, here's the thing. It's more, I think what they're coming from is that, you know, YouTube will just kind of mark or demonetize it at the before all this shit came out, is that, you know, you are not promoted enough, you know. People that, you know, just put out a video, you wouldn't be recommended because of maybe you cursed and you got demonetized. Well, and before
the political scene got involved with YouTube and started pressing all this propaganda that they're a big communist shit show and they just want to brainwash your kids and shit like that, YouTube was going for the whole family-friendly thing after the adpocalypse, so they were going for basically that content that falls in the middle and that content for children, and they were pushing edgier content creators off to the side.
Right.
Well,
now they want us back.
Now their cash cow is at risk. Guess who they fucked over, and guess who they're turning back to?
Please take us back. We need the money.
Personally, I would say if those creators had any integrity, tell YouTube to go fuck themselves after everything they put you through. I would revel in it.
I did a social experiment for a while ago. I think about a year now. I did a social experiment about you know, it was like I turned off my advertisement to see if that would affect my videos, minus the popular ones. Like, I don't monetize my videos because one, some of the stuff is not even mine to begin with. Two, I really wanted to see what would happen because I heard this theory going around. Now, this is theory, and no, it's not a game theory, so please do not fucking say that. That if your video was monetized, you would get promoted more. I think it's a 50-50 shot, to be perfectly honest. Even though some videos are more popular than others on my channel, it doesn't mean I didn't get, you know, enough love or something like that. So I kind of want to, like, dispel that right now. Again, I'm not like, I'm not, you know, as Ricky would say, a hyper sensational YouTuber of the world. But I just want to say as somebody, like a content creator to another, that, you know, you really don't need advertisement to kind of get out there. If that's what a lot of people are on this channel, are on YouTube to kind of like stand out from the crowd. And I want you guys to know that you don't really need advertisers to do that. I haven't done that. I've never had advertisers. Ever. I gotten sponsored, but that's about it. So, Toby Loves Husky says, hold on. So let me get this straight. COPPA is actually turning YouTube into what it used to be. I'm actually really getting sick of people censoring themselves, and cause gotta stay family friendly, guys. Yeah. So, yeah.
It's more or less.
Toby.
It's more or less. No matter how you cut it. No matter how you cut it, you are technically censored if you cannot do what you want with your ambitions and passions. Don't think that just because adult content is allowed, there's no censorship. It's in a new form now, and it's called you can't appeal to kids if you want to. You can't appeal to broader audiences of families if you want to, unless you want to fall under that gray area for potential of getting in trouble with COPPA. It's still censorship, and a fully overly edgy rated R YouTube is about as bad as an entirely family-friendly YouTube. You'll learn.
Yeah, I think they have to go to one extreme to another, and then like they'll find a balance. But I have this. There is something coming for YouTube. But I do want to read this other comment saying, Green Rob, in terms, many YouTube channels will be all right. Yes, many YouTube channels will be all right. You will not be knocked down. There was this conspiracy theory, or this theory going around that, you know, if you had a YouTube channel and you weren't making enough money for the YouTube company, no, that is not the case. You are not going to be nuked. You are not going to be smited off the planet because of the YouTube God said so. So, everybody calm down, take your pitchforks down a little bit and those torches, you're gonna be fine. So, another person said, Mystic username Maxshi2525 says, YouTube, like, please come back, I need monies. Icecat said, this is why I don't like anti-SJW reaction channels that read clickbait articles.
I used to be guilty of that, but I fell out of that funk when I actually started to hang out with people who were non-binary and weren't like, oh, you assume my gender. All it took was exposure to people that weren't batshit insane for me to think that there were plenty of sane people that represented political, progressive arguments of society. Like, wow, it doesn't actually sound that bad for Medicare, for example, to be expanded to hearing aids and eyeglasses, does it? Doesn't sound that bad for the qualifying age of Medicare to drop a little below 80 right now, huh? Those aren't communist things. Those are actually pretty good things. And they just want to tell you those are communist.
So we have some things on my end. I'm going to probably botch this name up. So Javier Titlin, I'm so sorry, Javi, I'm just gonna say that for short. The FTC law has mixed ratings content that fit for adult and for child audiences. YouTube is ignoring it deliberately just to save money.
Yeah, to some degree. The FTC actually recognized a gray area. I was gonna get into that.
Okay. This also ties in with that. Let's see. Blazing Light says, doesn't the COPPA have general audiences expectation? Green Rob, we should let many YouTubers know like this. Those who can upload game walkthroughs, and that will be alright. Somebody asked, Walter Klauf said
I would
gender.
I would say be yourself, do you. Just comply with, is your video for kids, is your video not for kids, and let everything else fall to the wayside.
Yeah.
That stress, that panic is what's going to drive everything to chaos, and a lot of people don't realize that. And some of these motherfuckers aren't being honest. I'm not going to say specific people because I don't have all the facts, but I know for a fact that some of them like being sensationalist clickbait. They do. Because that gets the views, that gets the audience, and some of them are passionately concerned, but they're quick to jump the gun. That's a lot of us too, right? Don't attribute to malice that which could be explained by ignorance, but it has to be recognized when we're all in a tizzy and we don't actually know what we're talking about, right?
This is why I'm so glad we collected ourselves before we went on.
Oh yeah, we flat out said we're not going to be in a panic when we do this. We need to know the facts.
Yeah, we planned this we had our panic attack and our anxiety meds on a week ago. We're fine.
So we let the course play out for about 2 weeks, and that's how we got our hands on this blog and a lot more interesting information and not whatever the fuck they say Clownfish TV is.
When you have a name like Clownfish TV, I just think of the clown emoji.
Could you maybe, I don't know, give us a link to that Clownfish TV or whatever people are talking about instead of just calling us fucking idiots and saying, I got a source, but I'm not going to show it to you.
Red Landley 02 says, what's the next Family Guy versus the FTC? There's something that may be...
Alright.
Okay, you can go first, and then I'll say.
Family Guy addressed the FCC, they never addressed the Federal Trade Commission. There's two. The Federal Communications Commission and the Federal Trade Commission. By all intents purposes, right now the FTC should actually be collaborating with the FCC and using their audience standards to establish what's for kids and what isn't, because roadway of the map, right? Most people look at a TV show, they've grown accepting of the FCC standards of audience bracketing. Viewer discretion is advised. I'm sure everybody's familiar with that. Great system for protecting the people that actually make shows, and that's precisely what it does. Puts the responsibility back into the hands of the audience, follows legal regulation. It's perfect. I love that thing.
Right.
Just imagining how many people it protects by bracketing off its audience.
Also, there was something that my boyfriend brought up. He's like, Kitty, your channel's gonna be... He's like, babe, your channel's gonna be fine. I was like, what do you mean my channel's gonna be fine? Like, this is one I just found out about, and I was trying to digest all the information. And he says, babe, your channel's gonna be fine. I'm like, what? What do you mean? He's like, there was something about money and being monetized. I can't remember exactly, so
that's
it
true.
May be out of context, but please fill me in.
That's true.
Okay, you can take
That's true. Right. COPPA, personalized ads. You don't have ads on your videos right now, Kitty.
No, I do not.
You are safe. Regardless of what falls down the rabbit hole, you are safe. The only reason the FCC would come after you is if you have targeted ads turned on and they think you're a kid-oriented channel. That's the big nuance here, right? COPPA is about targeted ads and the collection of private information. Period. If you're a kid's channel and you mark that video as for kids, you're not going to get targeted ads, comment section disabled, all this different shit they basically set up for kids-oriented videos to be in compliance with COPPA. Right. But if you say you're not for kids, you still get the targeted ads. A very large likelihood is any account under the age of 13 or any account that watches the kids' videos on YouTube won't see your videos. Because another thing they did, and a lot of people said this is stupid, but this might be preemptive for any stupid thing the FTC tries to do in their own ignorance, which is any channel above the age of 13 that watches the child-oriented content will also be considered a child. This is something they said in their terms. But now really think about that. Remember the question you raised, like, well, if I don't know the age of the person watching? Well, they just watched a bunch of kid videos if they're a kid now, didn't they?
Right. And they also, and what about the ones of the kids that bypass the system? And they're like, oh, I'm 16, don't worry, I'm 13, I'm 18. You know, there are kids that, here's the thing that people keep forgetting about kids. Kids are not dumb. They're very smart.
No, they're not.
And a lot of people are like, oh, well, they're just kids, they don't know any better. Here's the thing, guys. And I'm pretty sure we all know it.
They don't. All right. Here's the thing, right? There's nuance there. They know how to bypass and circumvent systems to do what they want. Kids are very smart about that. What they don't know is the consequences of doing that. They don't know there's a whole bunch of predators out there looking to protect their information. The thing that children maintain in their ignorance is innocence. We're adults. We don't have that innocence anymore. We know there's predators out there, murderers, child kidnappers, terrorists, you fucking name it. Kids aren't aware of that because they've maintained their innocence. That's the ignorance that children have.
Right, and I understand, like, with that comes, like, life experience and learning about life and shit like that. But unfortunately, we really don't give kids enough credit for what they do. Like, they're really smart little suckers, so...
Oh, they're smart, but they're also dumb.
Yeah, they're stupid smart.
They're very
Sometimes.
Intelligent in most situations, but they lack general common sense. Most kids do because that lobe of their brain isn't properly developed.
Right. It's about, like, growing and, becoming an adult and things like that. And also, brain chemicals. But I do want to say that they are smart, and some of them are book smart, some of them are street smart, some of them get a lot of life experience at a young age. So kids are generally smart, but a lot of them are exposed to more things than others, but they generally, in a weird way, keep a source of innocence on some areas that they're not familiar with. I think that's what I really want to say.
Now, there's the thing, right? If YouTube engaged in appropriate age gating, then it would just be if you try to make an account below 13.
Right. I think
you can't make it. You can't make it because actually under the rules of YouTube main, you're not supposed to have an account on here unless you're 13 or above.
Right. And if you're a kid and you're watching, whether it be mine, Gonzo's, Sharp Wings on the Twitch, please, just follow the rules. Please follow the rules. It will keep you safe.
Yeah,
that's what we want you. We want you guys to be safe. And I'm coming... Sharpwing knows I have sort of a mother instinct. So this is my mother instinct talking. I want you kids to be safe because I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want your families to be in danger. Things like that. This is... Okay, I'm done. They're probably like, Kitty, shut the fuck up, you dumb whore.
Apparently there's people saying the screen's melting, and that's probably a byproduct of running 2 different streaming softwares to try and get this thing working.
Yeah, okay, for those that are, like, kind of late to the party, I'm hosting 3 platforms right now, my own, Gonzo's, and the Twitch through Restream. So I actually
tested the YouTube event theory. You can have, on Restream, you can have one that's, YouTube Stream Now and one that's YouTube Event. They're technically both YouTube, but they act as 2 different services on Restream.io. They'll stream to the 2 separate YouTube channels, so you don't have to do that next time, by the way.
Alright, Super Duper Herper Trooper says, Mama Kitty confirmed. Stop calling me Mama Kitty! Everybody calls me that! Stop! Read!
Yeah, you won't land her in jail.
No, I don't want to be a mother. More like Grandma Kitty.
You don't want to be a jail mommy.
A jail mommy.
All right,
Come on,
so
Sharpwing, take me out and roll me into the sun, there, dearie.
I'm actually going to finish this bad boy up, at least the most important parts that most people want to know about, to clear everything I possibly can up. The determination of whether content is child-directed will be clearer in some contexts than in others, but we can share some general rules of thumb. First, unless you're affirmatively targeting kids, there are many subject matter categories where you don't have to worry about COPPA. For example, if your videos are about traditionally adult activities like employment, finances, politics, home ownership, home improvement, or travel, you're probably not covered unless your content is geared toward kids. So that's some pretty boring ass shit. Most people don't make those kinds of videos, but those people are completely protected under COPPA. The same would be true for videos aimed at high school or college students.
Yeah, I feel like that's sort of my crowd.
On the other hand, if your content includes traditional children's pastimes or activities, it may be child-directed. For example, the FTC recently determined that an online dress-up game was child-directed. Second, just because your video has bright colors or animated characters doesn't mean you're automatically covered by COPPA.
Thank you, I like my fucking colors!
While many animated shows are directed to kids, the FTC recognizes there can be animated programming that appeals to everyone.
Oh my god, these people can learn. YouTube, take notes!
That's why they're taking public comment. They were aware of this for a long-ass time. It's good they made this blog post so that we know what the commission is aware of.
FTC, may I marry you?
Third, the complaint in the YouTube case offers some examples of channels the FTC considered to be directed to children. For example, many content creators explicitly stated in the About section of their YouTube channel that their intended audience was children under 13. Right, so let's get this clear. Evidence they used in a court of law to fine YouTube were channels that outright said they were directed to children under 13, delivering targeted ads to their audience. This showed, under the law, an intent to take children's private information. Other channels made similar statements in communications with YouTube. In addition, many of the channels featured popular animated children's programs or showed kids playing with toys or participating in other child-oriented activities. Some of the channel owners also enabled settings that made their content appear when users searched for the names of popular toys or animated characters. Want to see the FTC analysis in context? Read pages 10 to 14 of the YouTube complaint. I will actually give you pages 10 to 14, the YouTube complaint, to follow up on that.
Okay. I'm gonna link this in here one more time. That's for people to come and follow along.
It's the link to the FTC document. Go to pages 4 to 10 if you want to see the YouTube complaint.
There is somebody, Javi says, once Halo Reach comes out, I'm gonna try to make Halo Machinimas. If COPPA takes it away, I'm gonna be pissed. No, I don't think they will. Because Halo has already been targeted, I want to say, as a teen or an adult series.
It is historically established as a game that traditionally teenagers, minors, and adults play.
I think
it is established under the ESRB rating system as a mature rated game. So there's a large chance, if the general audience of Fortnite was meant to be adults 18 and up, the FTC and the FCC are going to have a fight about this.
Yeah.
Because the ESRB rating system is the FCC's jurisdiction.
And this goes even with people like me, who has been doing a live Let's Play of Pokemon Sword and Shield. Or just any, like, more general audience games, correct?
Yeah, there's a large chance if you play Mario, that's not going to instantly be considered child-directed. There's a large chance if you play Minecraft, depending on what you're doing, that's not going to be child-directed. I think PewDiePie's safe, just because he's got connections, and whatever precedent he moves to set will probably be set for other YouTubers.
Oh, it's Omega!
Omega!
Blazing Light says, well then, goodbye Jake Paul, barely knew ya.
Yeah, nobody cares about Jake Paul.
I can't wait till he fucking just kinda corrupts.
He should have been a better person and less predatory if he didn't want to disappear. Now I generally don't care.
They said that moment that they make Herbert the moment that later Herbert the pervert makes his own YouTube channel, then it's gone. Yeah, if I'm correct, people that play games like Mario, Pokemon, Zelda, games Minecraft that are more kid-oriented or just a general audience, I believe if you mark your channel...
It's a case-by-case basis. I would take extra measures like explicitives, certain conversation topics, and things like that.
Say fuck
just in case.
Right.
And remember that precedent they laid out. Some of the channels directly said they were directed to children under 13.
Right.
I believe, and I have a theory, that the inverse is true. If you say that your channel is directed to a higher age group, the FTC will see that.
And
so if you say it's directed to people 13 and up, if you say it's directed to people 16 and up, they're going to take that as gospel.
Right.
At least. I think.
Again, we really do encourage your own research, and we want to say this now. I hope maybe Gonzo could, like, somehow cut the important parts and put them all in. I mean, it's all important, but you know what I mean? But we really.
But yeah, I will say for measure, go to that about section right now, and say what audience your shit is directed to, and then try to aim for that audience. Try.
Yeah, try. Also, I do want to just state right now, this can change. Again, it's ever evolving. So we really encourage you to do your own research as well, because there's new shit coming out like day by day. Me, Sharpwing, and a few other creators are in this place called Backstage, and every time we keep sharing shit that comes up, because a lot of us are content creators. And we want to make sure everyone's informed.
I don't want people to panic, but at the same time, I don't want them to feel that they're completely safe, because I can't guarantee that.
Right. That's why I say it's ever evolving. That's why I said it's ever evolving.
What I can say is listen directly to what the commission says, listen directly to what YouTube says, with a little nuance, with your own side of common sense, with your own understanding of how the world works, and then do as you see fit.
Right.
Take whatever precautions you feel are necessary. You want to fucking swear like a sailor to guarantee you are not going to be thrown in front of the FTC. Do it. You want to say in the About section that your channel is directed to those 13 and up? Do it. You want to talk about controversial topics? Guess what? You've been given an incentive to do that now.
Right. They want to be childhood friendly. Now they got to go back to not being.
Yeah, now they're going to learn what it fucking means when you cross content creators who are bound and determined not to be fucking arrested for making a video.
Right. And there are some people in the chat that are saying some things. Green Bob said, well, this is even more good to know. The information really clears my mind and soul. Ice Cat, I want to make a Marvel anime series. Yes, I'm going to put Miss Marvel. Go fuck yourselves, Yellow Flash. And I'm going to be alright. And I'm going to have fun. PewDiePie will not be affected, says Silent Blast, because he is Swedish.
Yes, technically because he's not in the United States, he can only be punished by the YouTube algorithm. Like I said before, good luck to a United States regulator instilling their law or regulation in another country.
Right. This is mainly, I think this is mainly for the American creators, because YouTube is
this is for us
in America. So anybody that you're like a fan of, like I'm a fan of other content creators that do not live in the US. I've currently I like to watch Aki Dearest from time to time, and the Anime Man from time to time, and those two are not. It's weird. The Anime Man, who is her boyfriend, is not based in America, but they both live in Japan. But Aki Dearest is partnered with the American YouTube, but there's a Japanese branch. So it depends. And then Omega said, "You want to swear like a sailor? Do it, but no monetization." I said this.
They're probably going to change that,
right? But here's the thing, and I want to
because they can't make money if they don't.
I want to say this as somebody who, like, the only way I make money off of YouTube is through super chats. And that was the way for me to kind of bypass the monetization. However, I want to say this. If you're really serious about doing YouTube and making it a thing and making some cash off of it, because I bet everybody wants to make some easy cash, and what better way than throwing up a video and screaming in front of a camera for 3 minutes? You can get sponsored if you work really hard enough. And I'm talking from experience. I've been sponsored before. Did I make any money off it? Probably not. But they reached out to me because they saw potential in me. So what I'm saying is that if you're really serious about making some kind of money off of YouTube and you don't want to go through the YouTube monetization system, there are people out there, and there are also partner programs. But I highly, and Sharping was there, I highly recommend you doing research in them. I literally took me, a month, 3 weeks or so before I agreed with Yume Twins?
Yeah, she had to learn the terms to Yume Twins and things like that. She had to make sure she was getting a majority of the proceeds if she did turn a profit. And companies will try to screw you. Right now, the internet's very predatory, and it doesn't have the same ethics practices the real world does.
Right, and you even need to... and here's the thing about that, is that you really need to consider your audience. You need to... Say if you did get a sponsorship...
That too.
Do what I did, because I think transparency is the ultimate form of respect to your audience. It makes them seem like you care about them, you're invested in them, which I am. I had to say to them, I said, look, guys... I want your thoughts about this. Should I have this? Should I not? And I explained everything and detailed as much as I could in a layman's term from legal term. And majority of them said, please go for this. We want you to succeed. And I know not all 6K of them can't respond to that in like, a week or so time, in my time. But I did want to, you should really invest into your audience, because they will, if you show them love and respect and care, they will show you that back, especially when you treat them like a human being. And that's what a lot of people on YouTube don't do with their subscribers. They don't treat them like fucking humans, and that fucking pisses me off.
Here's a good rule of thumb. Unless it's like something that's personally private.
Oh yeah.
If it's something you have to hide from people that generally watches you that does not fall under that criteria, it's probably not right.
Right, like, if somebody, like, found out where I live and said, knocks on the door, KittyHipur, hi! I'm like, how the fuck did you fucking find me?
That's wrong.
I would scream.
That's wrong. That's wrong. You have a right to be upset about that.
Right.
You've got a right to privacy, even if you are a quote-unquote public figure. And a lot of people go, well, your address is public information. The existence of your address is public information. Finding out it's yours requires a little thing called doxing, which is illegal to some law firms. So just be wary of that.
But yeah, let's see. There are some people that are talking in the chat. It says time to say the fuck word. The stick username Malkashi 2525. Walter Clough says, "Hoorah! I can start working on my animated WW1 series." Ooh, cool. Green Rob says, "Hello, my name is Green Rob. I'm not Green Bob, but that's okay. At least we know it's helpful." Yeah, sorry, I'm a little bit fucking retarded.
I'm just saying, as a content creator, as a general rule of thumb, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I mean, what are we doing here right now? We're streaming to multiple YouTubes and Twitch.
Yeah, I mean,
and then there's
I have a
Mixer.
Twitch and I have other platforms, but I don't advertise it because I don't want to feel rude, and I don't.
Right,
and I'm very.
In regards to promotion, if you don't feel your content is reaching everybody, that's why Discord groups exist. We've got a Discord group for Midnight Media as well, and we promoted everything on here before even starting. We promoted it onto other Discord groups we share with each other. That's called networking, by the way. Before Machinima was a thing, before Maker was a thing.
Right.
That was how people networked. They just sat up an email, they contacted one another, they thoroughly planned something over, and then they did it. And at that point, there was no profit motive. People just did that for fun. So if you could do that for fun, imagine how much more effort you're going to put into it if you do it for money. If it's your job, you will find a way.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, dude, I'll be honest, if I could, like, really make bank off of YouTube, I would have a ball. I would have, like, a whole separate area to do it. I would, like, have, like, my own little area to film and be a dork online. But
here's a good rule of thumb. As of right now, YouTube has proven to itself that all it cares about is profit. It doesn't care about you.
We got to have money.
So the moment what you do isn't making them enough money, they're not happy. You put all your eggs in that one basket, expect to be shivved.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't put your eggs in there, just don't put every single egg in there. Have a plan B.
Yeah,
have a plan
be a Twitch streamer.
And
I mean, that has more potential a little bit.
One thing's for sure, if you're a brand spanking new content creator and you're trying to solely make income off of this, don't.
No, really. Like, what would be the best thing to do if you're really serious about getting your ass off the ground with YouTube? Have a side hustle. Like, have a part-time job. Say you're in school and you're like,
have a side hustle and learn how to save money, and then invest that money towards your channel to improving your brand with money you worked hard to earn.
Right.
Yeah.
But there are people are going to say, but I'm a kid. I'm not currently employed. What do I do? I say if you're really serious, first, ask permission from your parents if you could do this. I think that'd be a better thing, and said, I got permission from my parents. And I'm talking about the kids that are younger. If the kids that are older, they want to invest in YouTube, get either a part-time job or, if you can't get a job because maybe your parents won't let you, because I know there's some places that you have to be like a certain age to get a job, or maybe you're too invested into something to go to college.
Yeah, you have to be of a particular age for employment, because we do have child labor laws.
Right. Right, but what I'm saying
But
is...
this drives another point home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ryan's toy review, that 8-year-old kid unboxing videos, is actually something very predatory. Because we actually had legal acts a long time ago passed that if a child became a Hollywood celebrity, they actually had to see a portion of the proceeds.
Right.
On YouTube, Ryan's toy review, all those millions of dollars he's made, nothing under law says that little boy has to see a dime of it. His parents can basically steal from him.
Right, and you know, and that kind of just goes into a more deeper topic about childhood celebrities and things like that. So this whole COPPA thing ties into a lot of things. But I think as we're talking about with YouTubers, and you want to do this really badly, do it for fun first. Do it because you want to really entertain people. Don't do it for the money. Don't do it for the fame. Don't do it for the glamour. That will kind of all follow. Like,
oh yeah, Daddy 05.
If you do,
Daddy 05. Yeah, go ahead.
If you do really want to, you know, become famous on YouTube, then that's your choice. But you gotta work really hard at it because it's really hard to stay relevant.
All right, I'm gonna tell you what you gotta do, and it's a hell of a lot of work, in my opinion. Algorithm ain't gonna help you. That's like winning the lottery at this point. And if you're a controversial person, you're in an uphill battle constantly.
Oh, yeah.
Because from what we've learned, if you're not monetarily viable, you're not visually viable either. They will hide you in the results. They will make sure you can't naturally be found on the site. And at that point, the only thing that will guarantee you're found is level of interest. So off the ground, if you're not making so-and-so views and you're controversial, there's a lower chance you're going to be seen by P-score.
There are some things I'm going to read from the chat right now. It says, Blue Topaz says, take me for example. I am the chef at a Ronald McDonald house, and that's good money for my YouTube channel, like getting a new mic and software. See, you can make your own money so you can invest it. Some people, like, if your parents are, like, blessed with, like, extra cash, if you're, like, Daddy Warbucks or some shit, then ask them saying, hey, can I have an allowance or things like that. There are many ways of making money, and, you know, even the smallest of simplest of things can really help. Your phone can help. You know, you don't really have to put a lot of money into YouTube, and that's a very, like, misconception. You build it up over time. Like, I didn't get the camera that I got right out box. I had to physically move away from my mother's house because she wouldn't let me do YouTube, even though I was of legal age, and I filmed when she wasn't in the house, and it wasn't, you know, anywhere where anybody could dox me, but I had to follow her rules, so now that I'm alone, I'm able to do it. So I do.
Yeah, she does what she wants.
Yeah. Fuck you, ma'am. So I do want to say there is somebody who was in here earlier, and I feel like we skipped over them. I gotta find their name again. But they were they wanted to know, they're a Canadian small YouTuber, and they wanted to know if it was worth it to keep going with YouTube. I can't find their name for the life of me. If you're here still on Gonzo's channel, like, give us a bleep.
If you're doing it for money and you don't know friends who are big who can...
They want to keep doing it, but they're not sure if they should go back to either Twitch or Mixer if this whole COPPA thing is going around, and they're kind of too scared to do it because, you know...
They could legally subpoena you if you're in Canada. You're close enough, but again, there's a thing.
There we go, Chronos Angelo. I found them.
There's a thing that exists called national sovereignty, right? Every country has their own sovereignty that must be respected in the zone of actions of war and trade deals. If Canada decides they do not want American COPPA law enforced in their country, that's what it is.
Right. Chrono.
Now, YouTube's a private platform. They can enforce whatever laws, rules, and standards they want because it's their platform.
Right. Their name was Chrono Angelo, and they said, I'm a small Canadian gaming channel, which is the best for me. Should I go back to Twitch or Mixer? Both have their perks, both have their drawbacks, I believe. Twitch, while it's older, Mixer is younger, and Mixer, I know that Ninja moved there recently.
Ninja moved there in a big power move against Twitch. It might have actually put Mixer on the map, I'm not certain.
Yeah, it's all, like, you have to really weigh the pros and cons. I think the best way, And this is the way I like kind of buy electronics. I do a lot of research into them before like I buy them. So I read an article about them, or I compare an Amazon ad to maybe like, you know, somewhere where it's actually sold on their website, and I watch videos about them. So I really do my research before I get invested, and I kind of find what is best for me. Jamel said, "You're fine. Nobody's late and nobody's early. We are all just here. It doesn't matter if you're late. It doesn't matter if you're early. We're just happy that you're here, fam. So don't apologize." Laura Nanuzzi says, "Love your videos." Well, we're so glad that you love Mindless Gonzo's videos. Because me and Sharpwing are currently doing a hostile takeover. Come and join the our evil organization. Mwahahaha.
Yes, we've taken over and we are winning. You cannot beat us.
Oh, we're like the mafia boss, but like really more weird, I guess.
We're stupid.
Yeah. Red Alangi said, just like a new policy in Twitch streams. There's a new policy with Twitch streams?
Yeah, what's the policy on Twitch streams? I haven't heard about this.
Red Langlio 2, please let us know.
Is Twitch already interpretively moving to try and be compliant with COPPA?
I mean, that would be quite an interesting move.
Their method, their settlement, and what they try to do to be compliant with COPPA will be different from YouTube just because of how the site is structured, by the way. It may not be as bad.
And plus, they already have a rating system implemented.
And if they've got age gating, they're golden.
Right, but here's the thing. Again, children can bypass it, saying, "I'm 17."
Children can bypass age gating, but at that given point, there is a level of expected intent under COPPA. If you don't know you're advertising to a child, that's it, because another thing is intent under the law. The reason YouTube got in trouble is because they boasted over and over again to their advertisers that they were a kid-friendly platform.
Right, and that's where Twitch, I feel, doesn't get, attacked, because they don't really boast about it. But I will say that they do play favorites with their creators. I've noticed, like if you're that one Twitch streamer that's their golden cash cow, they will feature you. They've also done some really weird things where they ban people at random. Some of them are legit, but then some of them are kind of out of the blue.
Can I join you guys because you're really fun? You can't join us directly. We probably will have a portion for public comment, but I better get this out of the way right now anyways.
Anyway, it's 5 a.m., says Omega, and Small Horse needs to go to bed. Alright, good night, Omega. We will see you when I see you. He's going to Breadland and be a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But yeah, again, do YouTube for fun. Don't do it for the money. You know how people like Shane Dawson, one of my personal YouTube senpais? He did it for fun for the longest time. He didn't do it for, the fame and the glory. He did it because he liked filming. The Rio Lumen says, FTC has made new comments that shed some light. Was this just now, or was this just today, or was this what we've been currently talking about for the past 2 hours?
These are baby nails. Oh my god. These are baby nails.
Yeah.
Someone said,
"Oh whoa. Oh woo."
why won't you woo with us, Sharpwing?
Oh whoa.
No, I want a baby voice because that makes it
Cooler. It makes it cuter. Why won't you do it in a cute anime voice? Ooh woo. It's free will estate.
It's all about the obscurities. Really? Do you have a link?
Yeah.
We would love to see that, and we'll definitely talk about it.
I was if you're talking about, it's about the obscurities. I'm assuming what you mean by that is how big or small something is. Like I said before, the FTC is probably more interested in going after big players to make a statement.
They said, I don't have a direct link, but if you go look up Sugar on Twitter in her recent post. Oh, I know Sugar. Sugar, for those that don't know, is a very popular storytime animator in general. They live up in Canada.
Yeah. Storytime animators would definitely be people to be worried about this because of how vague the rules and standards are set. I believe that.
What about Draw My Lives?
I don't know.
Alright, let's look up Sugar on Twitter. Alright. Their names are Sugar Oh Whoa. Alright, so the Federal Trade Commission posted on Sugar's channel. The Federal Trade Commission protecting America's consumers. The determination of whether a content is child-directed will be clearer in some contexts than in others, but we can share some general rules of thumb. First, unless you are firmly targeting kids, there are many subject matters and categories that you don't have to worry about COPPA. For example, for your videos that are traditionally for adult activities like employment, finances, politics, home work, ownership, and home improvement, travel, etc., you're probably not covered unless your content is geared towards the kids, and same would be true for the aim for high school or college students. On the other hand, if your content includes traditional children's pastimes or activities, it may be child-directed. For example, the FTC recently determined that the online dress-up game was child-directed. Second, just because your YouTube has bright colors or animated characters does not mean you have automatically covered by COPPA. While animated shows are directed toward kids, the FTC recognized here that can be animated programming that appeals to everyone. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure we talked about that earlier, but thank you for bringing that up once again. I'm pretty sure people don't really listen.
Essentially, it's like if you don't believe you're the problem, then don't act like you're the problem. Don't think like you're the problem.
I will link this Twitter post for everybody.
We have to be the ones to set precedent for the new law going forward by establishing common sense in our communities and just basically societally deciding, right, we got a problem with kids' content taking kids' information. This ain't it. This ain't what we're looking for.
Right.
The public has to be the ones to say that. You got to comment on December 9th and see if there's some way you could specify to FTC what concerned parents might have been talking about, what the coalitions might have been talking about, or better yet,
email them.
Look for the coalition that did complain to the FTC. Try and find out who they are. Don't be rude. Don't be a jerk, but ask them what their concerns were and what they were founded and predicated off of. You could learn a lot from that.
Isn't there,
don't be a jerk, though.
Directly, contact them by?
There is a direct email you can contact the FTC by. There's a way you can comment directly on the issue on their .gov website. There's a lot.
Yeah, if you could link that for me and I could just, throw it in the chat, so that'd be great.
For the comments, sure.
About and there's been something that's been floating on and off, and I don't think we've touched upon it. What about the whole YouTube petition? We didn't really talk about that.
Petitions are a crapshoot. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Which petition are you referring to? There's multiple.
The YouTube petition to, get the FTC, the one that we signed when we were high in emotion.
Alright, which one? Still.
The
There's
one
multiple.
that has 50,000, I can't remember exactly, but it has a lot of signatures on it, over 500,000.
Okay, there's one from kids content creators that wants the FTC to not remove their primary means of income, thus disincentivizing children's videos and exposing kids to a lot of violence and adult content, which is true. That's going to be a byproduct of all this. And then there's one compelling, trying to compel the FTC not to go hard on animators. And then there's another one wanting the FTC to use the ESRB rating system and the television rating system over the system that YouTube recommended. and then bracketing off audiences from there. There's basically a bunch of different solutions. In fact, in my files, I have the comment that I wrote, if people would like to hear that.
Okay.
Yeah, I even weighed in on this. Important documents, COPPA stuff. My comment. I took a screenshot of it, actually, but it doxes me, so I'm not sharing that screenshot. I'm not an idiot. It's got my real name, my home address, my zip code. I won't be sharing that here. But I will read it. All right, so my comment. Hello to the Federal Trade Commission. I've been a content creator for years on YouTube. I understand that the law in question is to protect children and inform parents from and about the collection of private information online. What I have a problem with is the idea that a highly flawed machine learning system and zero power to just outright disable targeted ads is the sole determining factor of whether someone, myself included, is to be handed a massive federal fine, and many will more than likely never be able to pay. I can't understate how flawed I believe a broad algorithm truly is. If it can't properly define hate speech, why would it make sense for me to have faith that it knows what it's looking for when it comes to children's content? I'm left two broad choices: suitable for children or not. Anything that falls in the middle is up in the air. I feel like a bystander in all of this when I want an active role. I want real responsibility thrust upon me if the consequence is to be large sums of money in federal fines. Don't get me wrong, I believe I'm the farthest stretch from child-friendly. I swear I reference comedically to things like alcohol, drugs, and the political. But I've made several mistakes that, if not taken into consideration, could affect me severely. I play Minecraft, which, while it is a video game broadly played by all, it is often associated with child-safe brands. Will swearing and adult humor be enough to substantiate the fair and legal skirting of the federal fine? Will I even get the right to a human review so that they can see what it is exactly that I do with my content? Can the deal be altered so that content creators can elect individually to disable any and all targeted ads for all audiences, as to not put all of their faith in a third-party machine learning system that gives them no further control? I also use animated pictures for my brand because of my general love of cartoony styles. That's true. Am I instantly considered child-friendly just because I have a drawn profile picture, drawn backgrounds, and drawn themes? I'd like all of these things addressed, and the ability to make our own decisions and not just broadly have choices handed off to a third party. I'm not a fish in a barrel. I'm an American who also has genuine concern for the protection of children's and people's private information that feels like he has minimal control over any of it. I have a niece, a nephew, and younger cousins to worry about. Don't villainize me. Give me the power to do something about it so that you can justify the consequences you plan on handing off to me and people like me. I actually had an idea for a rating system similar to that of television viewer ratings. You'll see what I'm talking about when you look at the image included. I want a fully fleshed out rating system in regards to internet content similar to this one, if not a few alterations. If this has to be a collaborative effort with the FCC, that's fine, but I feel something of this nature is necessary, not just for the restriction and controlling of targeted ads online, but to help content creators more properly isolate and define the target audience it is in which they aim for, and not just go for the blind shot of for kids, not for kids. You have a third-party option of letting a bot review it, but I've already told you now how little faith I have in that. Evidence also shown in shared files. Please consider all I have said and shown, and it would be much appreciated if my concerns were addressed. I shared an image of the FTC TV rating system, mature content, rated R, all that different shit. And then I showed the YouTube COPPA enforcement, which is the system of for kids, not for kids. So I sent them images of that. Now, this was before I knew that the FTC already had nuances recognized in their law because beforehand, I'd never read the law. I never saw COPPA. I never saw American law. I never saw any of this. But I try to be a responsible, reasonable person. So I told myself that there is probably a reason that they want this enforced, and it's probably a pretty damn good reason under the surface. And I agree, it is a good reason that they want it enforced. It's just this whole timing, all of it is just so poorly executed. It's not wrong to want to protect children's information. It's not wrong to say, well, you know, it might be the parent's responsibility, but I'm not going to be the parent who is responsible for my kids that stands by and allows other children to come into harm's way. Which is where I think the coalition came in, and that's the thing we don't think about. The coalition might be willing to consider that there's irresponsible parents. Does that mean they won't act to protect kids if they think it's necessary? They're parents. They're capable of this thing we have called empathy. I just wanted to make that point too.
But yeah, I think the general aspect, so we all want everybody to be safe, but we all want a chance to be safe, a safe place for both adult content creators and kids content creators, able to be, you know, expressive as well as fair. I brought it up in my letter that there are people that are our age, and there's probably people that work for the FTC and in the government that still collect comic books, that go probably to their local conventions, and they dress up as Superman or X-Men.
No, that's more than likely.
Well, I said that here. I'll really read what I said exactly. This is like a blurb. I said, but what you're doing in this case, I said, however, I would like to mention that the children and teens will lie about their age and bypass the age restriction. But in this case, what you're more so doing is a blanket effect. Many of the adults that are not, not just young, are into gaming, toy collecting, game reviews, etc. Just because it seems like a video game or an action figure doesn't mean it's geared at children. What about conventions? Many of those have adults that are enjoying not only the things that are from their childhood, but also you got some adults into Superman, Wolverine, X-Men, Wonder Woman, just to name a few. These adults still dress up in costumes and enjoy themselves. It's a place for joy for them. I bet that even you, some reading this, are into the are some on some level into computer games or comics or something of pop media culture world. Another great example, and I mentioned about Family Guy and the block programs and things like that. And I used it as a metaphor, and I told him that the internet isn't the parent's babysitter. So. Hellhouse said Biggie Cheese.
Yes.
He is the superhero that we, don't deserve. Sharpwing is spinning fact. He's also spitting up a lung, says, Dom Sparrow Uchiha.
Thank you.
Well, I added on the spitting up a lung. He's just said that you're spitting facts.
Yeah.
Alright. So is there any questions, any concerns, any comments? Of course, I just want to say that we can't answer all, like, your concerns to a full degree, because even we're still learning about this stuff. And it's ever changing, so keep your thumb on the pulse of this.
At some point or another, I got tired of being the one to cause panic. I just want to have a conversation, address people's concerns, address the fact that, you know, they panicked. Everybody does. Everybody gets nervous at some point in their life. Everybody thinks their life is over or something horrible is happening.
Oh, God,
and often,
I'm pregnant. Okay, cool.
Often we have a hard time handling change when it happens at such a rapid rate. That's normal. You're normal if you go through that. You're a normal person if you feel like that. Now, when you're an adult, however, you have a different set of responsibilities. You've got to recognize those things about yourself and work around it. And I just decided to be the adult of the situation, and Kitty did too.
Yeah, we did this because we wanted to inform you. You guys have the right to know. You guys should have the right to know. You should, you know, do whatever you can in your power. This is gonna probably affect the U.S. more than anything. As my boyfriend hearts.
My stance, children's content should totally be a thing. Family-oriented content should totally be a thing.
Right.
Rated R content, guess what? Should totally be a thing. Free expression. We're America. We're not Nazi Germany here, people. That's my stance. That will always be my stance.
Yeah, America the free, the beautiful, the brave.
That being said, there needs to be gating off. Like, for example, specific communities oriented towards certain games. If you're a Minecraft server, you probably don't want people talking about Roblox.
Roblox, yeah.
If you're a server dedicated to something like Call of Duty, you probably don't want people to go left field talking about Luigi's Mansion.
Luigi's Mansion, Luigi.
So there is a reason to isolate off and target an audience that's not solely for profit. It also makes sense. Like, oh, I'm a big fan of Star vs. the Forces of Evil. I want to make my audience about Star vs. the Forces of Evil and make videos solely talking about Star vs. the Forces of Evil. That's fine. That makes sense. Makes sense who you're trying to reach, makes sense what you're trying to talk about, why you're trying to talk about it. Now you've got to isolate that idea and solely zero in on that. It's kind of how audience targeting works. It's not just a marketing tactic, it's a real life tactic. When you're trying to make a statement, you're zeroing in on certain people when you make that statement. It's never broad, it's always specific.
Like, example, Mr. Beast, he wanted to plant like 1 million trees, so
his ad more than likely reached out to people who want to plant trees to save the environment. Nothing evil there.
Yeah, that's
nothing innately bad about it.
No, that's very humane. That's a pure boy stance.
Like, just use common sense. Don't instantaneously assume all this shit is some sort of major conspiracy from the deep state or some dark communist government. Because let me say this, if you're some Joe Schmo living out in the fucking Alps or rural America, I guarantee the powers that be probably don't care about you unless you've uncovered some big government secret. In which case you would have been dead a while ago. No excuses.
There are people out there that have perfected the secrets of the living waifu. So, that's some governmental.
The art of the whistleblower. Edward Snowden's still in the Kremlin, by the way. Because if he ever comes back, he's a dead man.
Who?
Edward Snowden, the guy that exposed the fucking NSA shit that the NSA, OG for the Patriot Act, were collecting people's private information.
Oh, okay.
Government's bad too. Government aren't always the good guys, but to say every aspect of the government is evil is highly naive. There are public workers that exist, guys.
You're turning into Styx the Badger if you're doing that. 10 points if you know my reference about how crazy she is.
Ajit Pai, the Verizon lawyer, yeah, that guy's a huge crock of shit for obvious reasons. It's okay for you to feel like that, by the way. That's pretty well researched if you think like that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's going down onto the road of like, oh, the government watches me. Oh, the government taps into everything. Which I bet is true on some level.
It's true on some level, but unless you're a huge target of interest for anti-terrorist plots, I guarantee the NSA is not after you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like, the fucking, FBI is not gonna look into my fucking...
They don't want to know the last time you masturbated to hentai. That's not what they're looking for.
Yeah, like... they're not gonna care about when I'm like, hey babe, you wanna go out on a date and make out on a hill and get like naked and shit? No, they're not gonna care.
But that being said, all this is a matter of principle. Like, the reason a lot of people have a problem with the Patriot Act, it is unethical. It directly violates our Constitution. It directly violates and tries to circumvent the Privacy Act. All these politicians that said that they cared about protecting individual privacy and stuff like that from web firms, guess what? Nadler and a bunch of those other people purporting all that shit about interference with Russian interests and stuff like that in our election renewed the Patriot Act when they could have just let it die. Says a lot about their character, by the way. Says a lot about their personal hypocrisy. So think about that next time you see those people on screen. Yeah. Preaching about how tech companies collect your information. Meanwhile, they renewed the Patriot Act. Just saying.
Let's see. Mystic username Makashi 2525 says, they don't care about your R34, just the C4.
Exactly. Your privacy will be violated to some measure, but there are protective measures that exist.
Yeah, like I don't like look.
You could do a VPN, and the only way the government can get your information is with legal government subpoena and probable cause that they need your information at that point.
All right, I'm pretty sure that if you got nothing to hide from the government, first off, I don't think they wouldn't blink to look into you.
Yeah.
Like,
so
if you have like something that's really like, government documents, really like big shit stuff that you got in your computer, then you should fucking worry.
The FBI doesn't care about that, but your local police might have a question or two if you're naked in public, lol. Yeah, probably.
I mean, do you
Probably.
go streaking in naked, Sharpwing?
All the time. I'm a public indecency lord. I like just like slapping my dick across an old lady's face while she's waiting for the bus.
Eh.
Oh my god. Oh, I can't wait to be an old lady on VR chat again. That was a lot. Being a fucking scene grandma.
Oh, look at you,
I would-
dingy dongers. This is amazing.
I would liken to argue that you guys just continue doing what you're doing, and if you are really that concerned, if you are really still that nervous, take measures wouldn't be child friendly. One thing Stank Fox did for his albums, for his album covers, to anticipate COPPA being enforced on other sites, was he put an explicit content rating on his music. Because some of his music actually does have vulgarity and obscenities and shit in it.
Oh, that's actually a rumor. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. But that's a rumor I do want to dispel, that you don't need to mature them. But if you want to, you can.
It's a good protective measure. I'm not going to say don't do it, but you may not need to, depending on the circumstance. Like, for example, I talk a lot about the political on my channel. I'm probably protected.
I say fuck every now and then.
Even though I got an animated boy. What we're talking about right here ain't for children, that's for sure.
No, some kid earlier, if you guys don't know, somebody who watches my channel came over and they're like, where's the yaoi hentai? I'm like, I can't really show porn on YouTube, guy.
Where's the yaoi hentai? Woo!
No hentai titties over here, Nickies, go away.
Where's the yaoi zowie?
I mean, if you want to go and get a yaoi zowie, please go right ahead. But not here, not on YouTube, because they can, like, kick you off for that. That's, like, still the one thing that's never changed. You can't have porn on YouTube.
Well, yeah, most general audiences don't like porn. That being said, I wish there was more legality around porn. I think it's ridiculous the hoops that companies have to jump through just to make fucking porn. We already agree porn's accepted. All of us, even though we don't want to admit to it, probably have some capacity involvement with pornography.
The internet is for porn. Then grab your dick and give a click for porn.
But yeah, Ricky put a big sticker on one of his album covers that said parental advisory explicit content. And that was to protect himself from COPPA. But I imagine COPPA's not after music since this is an advertising thing. And I don't know what kind of targeted ads would appear on music.
I mean, who knows? I almost called you Gonzo. You're not Gonzo.
Might be web page ads. There's that too. If it's not the video itself, then it could just be the website. Little pop-up ads collecting your information through web cookies, maybe.
I mean,
yeah,
like,
probably.
I have to say, there is a positive note when it comes to that stuff. I actually did find some things that I was interested on Amazon and other places.
See, there's positive that comes out of all the bad shit.
They recommended something and I was like, I could use that. So I added it to my Amazon wish list. Then again, I try to be... I try to be opportunistic with my channel, but, like, I'm not self-esteem with myself. So, apparently somebody said, like, there are a couple of people left in the chat. As long as people are just, like, listening, it doesn't really matter. Like, the big, the small, the audience, like, as long as this video gets out there, that's just the goal. we may be a small voice, but with your help, you can spread this around.
Like, yeah, basically all I can tell you, which this is just solely based off of belief, if you don't think your shit is directed towards kids, do not click that directed towards kids button. Because at the end of the day, the only way this one gets better is if people are honest. And FTC learns just the scale of what they're dealing with.
You're dealing with a million people.
They think this is gonna, and they're like old people, right? And it was already specified that a lot of these federal regulators don't own cell phones. Do you think they're aware of just the size and scale of how many people they're going to try and regulate?
You know, I wonder. I can't wait to see what happens to channels like. I am gonna name drop just for like context, but channels like Jake Paul, Tana Mojo Bitch, people like that are really like extreme. I'm not saying that they're bad people, and I'm not saying that they're nice people. I'm just saying in a context term, they definitely do kind of like very outrageous content. So.
Well, here's another thing, a previous point that I made up, that now YouTube is moving in the opposite direction, encouraging
vulgarities, things like that.
Vulgarities and shit.
Oh, hey. You know, hey, if they're getting successful, I shouldn't knock them. So.
Yeah. It's more or less the fact everybody knows they are more concerned with profit. They're a company. That's the way it's always been. They don't care about the morality of the situation. They don't care about the morality of the situation. None of this is politically bent. All of it is bent on where's the money. It's the thing. These dumb fuckers haven't a clue where the money is.
Well, they got sued. I'm not surprised.
Oh, yeah. Where's the money? Get sued. Shit.
Well, hey. Oh, I'm sorry to yawn. It is getting late. I do have work tomorrow at some level, so.
That's fine.
Oh my goodness. But let's just go over about how they can protect their channel one more time before we leave, so that they can come into.
All right. One of several things. Be open and honest. If you don't think your videos are for kids, then don't mark them as for kids. And if you think you're not safe, take extra protective measures. Explicitives, the talking of more adult contents, the showing of more fictional violence, whatever it need be. And just general conversations, swearing, whatever you could possibly think of that would, in your eyes, what you think would be the appropriate amount.
Also,
more than likely, in your opinion, guarantee that you don't get in trouble with the FTC.
Also, when you upload a video, I'm going to my own channel. Mark it for it's not made for kids when you upload it, and then it'll say age restriction. It says yes, restrict my videos to 18 and viewers. It says no, don't restrict my viewers to 18 only. Explain that, because you told me to do that, Sharpwing.
Basically, originally when I didn't understand the system, I told Kitty if she wanted to be 100% sure, age restrict her videos. She did. She did age restrict her content.
And my channel.
The current stream you're watching on Kitty's channel is currently age restricted. Her channel is not for kids. I don't know if there's a way to outright age restrict your channel.
Yeah, I mean, I could do that. I think that's it. I did it.
But I will say, I don't think this is going to be necessary. And if you feel that your content appeals to, you know, like minors and teenagers, you're still safe under COPPA.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm gonna be booted off the site.
Yeah.
I think it will definitely turn off a lot of advertisers, but I bet there are other people that will come in and be like, "Hey, Kitty, come and review this body pillow with extra blow-up titties."
Oh yeah, it'll require more work in order to make money off of something that YouTube deems as controversial, but judging by the fact that they actually never went out of their way in the first place to ask rated R movies if they wanted to advertise on YouTube. Hey, are you kidding me right now?
So
They didn't even try to reel in adult advertisers before cutting ads for quote unquote controversial content.
So Gonzo,
Let that sink in. They didn't even try. They just put you up shit creek and told you to go fuck yourself if you're a more mature creator.
So Gonzo, Faku partnership when? Faku, do you know what I'm talking about?
Good God, I wish I didn't.
Faku partnership.
But yeah.
Hashtag Gonzo X Faku.
Here's literally what YouTube wrote on one of their blogs. We're also running experiments to help match content that could be considered edgy with advertising that fits their brand. As you know, yellow icons are a signal that only limited advertising can run on a particular video because of its content. We're working to identify advertisers who are interested in edgier content, like a marketer looking to promote a rated R movie, so we can match them with creators whose content fits their ads. Essentially, limited ads has become the good thing, because now your ads are more targeted to the audience with which YouTube thinks they appeal. Not families.
But, you know, you can even go one step better. If you really want to, like, you know, if you're doing YouTube for a hobby, I say just don't monetize out of kind of spite.
You know, I said they should have been doing this all along, but they literally just left restricted and limited creators up shit creek without a paddle. If you were on limited ads, you weren't recommended. If you were on limited ads, your videos weren't sent out to sub boxes sometimes. Just everything. But if you and I had an experiment. If you didn't have ads, how did that affect visibility? Videos with no ads are up in the air, basically. They could show up. They may not show up because it's a part of that whole creators on the rise thing YouTube is focusing on. They're not going to silence creators that aren't ready to advertise because it's not yet determined whether those people can make money for them or not.
Right. And there is a new thing that Sharpwing told me, and it is called YouTube Spotlight. Now, what's that? That thing is in development.
I don't remember.
From what I remember is that it was basically sort of a spotlight for any random creator. It didn't have to be popular or famous or something like that.
That was okay. That wasn't a feature they were working on, and that wasn't even something I said.
Okay, then what did you say? Because I felt like I took your name or words out of context.
All right, that was something Dig Duke said, Dig Duke and a bunch of other people said, saying they wished YouTube did something like that more than the whole pro-corporate, pro-big YouTuber, oh, look what's trending tab, which is just a bunch of corporate horse shit. Nobody cares about Stephen Colbert. Nobody cares about John Oliver. Nobody cares about Fox News or MSNBC on YouTube. Those are for people on TV. We're not TV. I don't come on YouTube to watch TV. I already censored those channels and I won't watch them.
I come for YouTube for like a real.
I outright told the algorithm to stop recommending me those channels, and they don't. The only way they would is if I watched another Stephen Colbert video or something.
Right.
Because I haven't touched a single video from the mainstream, they've not recommended me one damn thing from the mainstream.
Woo!
After I told them to stop showing me those channels.
Mm.
So there is a way you can win. You just got to get out of that attitude of learned helplessness and learn how to game the system.
As for the algorithm, it's pretty fun.
Get the content you want to see. Get the content you want to see, and don't rely on the algorithm if you're a creator. Get friends in high places that have clout that can push you. That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Or you can just be like me and just be like humble.
run an alliance with a couple of friends, and if you're like me, establish channel managers early on. What that is you co-run a channel with a couple friends. Or those friends help you moderate that channel in a serious sense. Or those friends help you with video projects and they can upload videos that they edit for you straight to the site.
Yeah, I really agree with that because like but the one thing I really want to say, find people that you can trust to know these things because people can backstab you. Find people that you can really trust. Like Sharpwing knows my password to my channel, I believe. You know it. Or you at least you at least know basically how to get in it, or just be like, hey, or I could just DM him and say, hey, I have a really important video. It has to get out by this day. It's already uploaded. Could you please, just upload it for me and, make a pinned comment at, about what's going on. Like, say if I'm in a family emergency.
What we're recommending here would be a violation of the most basic common sense rules. That's why we're saying to use common sense when you do things like this.
Right.
It's very dangerous what we're proposing to do, but that's why you need to find people you trust.
Yeah.
People you think would push you out of the way of a moving car or take a bullet for you. That's the kind of people you need to put your trust in. I'd run in front of a train for ya. You know I'd do anything for ya. I remember that song. I liked it.
But yeah, no, that's
trust. That's the magical name of the game now. If you don't have systems of trust established, you don't have community with people.
Right, and if you really do want to again, do YouTube, keep pushing out content daily. If you do some I don't have a set schedule, and that's kind of my fault. But it's like I've tried the set schedule thing, and I try to make sure it was in the timeline of something. For now, I just kind of have live streams in the evening, or if it's important like this, I say it's at a certain time. Other than that, I just upload content at least once a week, if not 3 times a week, or 3 times within a day.
Yeah.
So, the consistency is something that you do have to do, but this is not really about how to become a successful YouTuber. This is just basically, we want you guys to have the ARM knowledge to protect
yourself. Look at it this way. Not only do you have the ability to employ channel managers where multiple people can get on and run a channel and help you run it. People you trust, that's a dangerous thing to do, by the way, because again, if even one person you don't trust gets control of that channel, they could fucking delete the whole thing.
No, or
just your whole back catalog of videos.
They could be like Towel, who did shit with Markiplier and hack it, and then just say, hey, this is Towel.
Yep. Yeah, and it's not a good idea if you don't have somebody you feel you can wholly trust, and even then, that's your final judgment on the matter. Make a very good decision on something like that. But I will say, for me, it was a necessary tactic. And a good one.
Yeah.
And I don't regret it, because the people that are currently doing that with me are people I trust to a very high extent.
Is anime game safe or anime? Yes, anime is safe. More
than likely. Ultra-violence, swearing, sexual themes. That's going to be fucking obvious.
What you do is that you go to your channel and go to the general settings, and then you'll see your settings pop up. You'll see general channel, uploading, defaults, and community. Click on channel, and then you'll see basic info and advanced settings and branding. Click on advanced, and then it'll say, yes, this channel is made for kids. I always upload content that's made for kids. No, this channel is not made for kids. I never upload content that's made for kids. No, I want to review this setting for every video. You click no, and then you just age restrict your video when you upload it, so your whole channel will be safe. I'm talking from a personal experience, because I do dubs of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid and Pokemon and My Hero Academia, and
okay, I will say this right now: bigger YouTubers are safe for a very unspoken reason.
Well, because they have branding.
And 2, if they did wind up having to take the FTC to court, they're some of the few people with enough money in order to do it.
Markiplier goes to court.
Markiplier goes to court.
Dude, I would love to see John.
Hey everybody, I'm trying to sue the FTC for COPPA.
No, it's fucking JonTron. It's like, oh my god, I'm getting sued again. But see, the thing about a lot of bigger YouTubers is that it's kind of common knowledge, but it's not. And the reason why I say this is because they're like, well, how do these people make their money? People just think people make money through YouTube. It's not always the case. If you blow up and make it big on YouTube and you are the next YouTuber of the world, famous superstar, you sometimes will get partnership with a company like Maker Studios that are their own kind of like YouTube network, and they don't necessarily work with YouTube, but they are definitely, I want to say, in conjunction. You could tell me if I'm wrong.
To some degree.
I knew I was fucking wrong.
It's all dependent. Like, let's zero in on something specific. You're trying to say multi-channel networks have these people protected under the law?
I want to say they do agree, or they have some kind of protection to keep them safe, or, you know, they're able to make a backdoor deal or something.
Potential contact with YouTube staff, not always guaranteed, but in regards to a multi-channel network giving legal protection, I'm not certain about that, actually. It's never happened.
Well, I mean, Markiplier, when that whole thing went down with his channel, and people were like, I got banned because the stupid AI fucked my channel. You know, he had a text number or a phone call number directly to
That's because he's big.
Well,
That's
I know that,
big.
but I'm saying other people might have that power too.
Well, what happened was he had a YouTube representative, and that system failed him because it took too long for YouTube staff to address the issue. I mean, that's when Funny Guy came on Reddit and said his representative probably just didn't know what team to go to. Their infrastructure is mass and expansive.
Oh, yeah.
That's where you've got to separate being mad at Team YouTube and being mad at the decisions corporate made that led up to Team YouTube having to do these things. That's where you've got to differentiate. It wasn't Team YouTube that said, oh, hey, let's put a lot of people in limited state and make sure they have no adult advertisers for the longest time. Team YouTube didn't control that. That was corporate. That was the board of directors. That was probably even Wojcicki. Don't get mad at Creator Insider because that happened. They're just doing their job. Creator Insider, by the way, is a great channel if you want to learn updates and changes being made to YouTube. They share it all. They're transparent about almost every change to the system that they're allowed to share with the public.
Right.
I definitely recommend Creator Insider for that, though.
Alright, Pew News, breaking court special, says Mystic username. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that anime's safe, your favorite cartoons are safe, as long as
PewDiePie did an oopsie. He's going to court with the FTC for COPPA violations.
I did an oopsie.
Okay, I can't give any real definite... Like, everybody's taking my word as gospel, but let me explain here. This is a gray area, right? What I am saying is legal precedent dictates no. That still means this could go in any direction, because I am not a lawyer. I cannot tell you how the FTC is going to interpret a situation. All I can tell you is it doesn't make sense, and legal regulators tend to do things that make sense sometimes, not all the time. To give you a sense of things, the FTC once sued a lady responsible for a birthday cookie contest for violating COPPA. Specifically because in order to give kids cookies with their birthday on them, she needed to ask kids for their date of birth.
You can just...
Personal information.
Right. I mean, if you wanted to, like, make a birthday cake, you would just put happy birthday on it and give it to the kid.
She wanted to make... I don't know why she wanted to specifically make cookies with their date of birth on them. Don't ask me why.
That makes me feel a little uneasy. I'll just be honest. Like, if I was gonna make, like, happy birthday cookies, I would just put fucking smileys on them.
Yeah.
Here, happy fucking birthday, you little rugrat. Here, has a fucking cookie.
So like, yeah, and then there's that presumption to common sense, right? You had a competition where you would give a select few kids happy birthday cookies. Why did you need their date of birth in order to do that? What were you going to use that for?
That just sits with me the wrong way.
Yeah, so you got to think about the nuance with that as well. On the surface, it seems like an innocent old lady, but when you ask yourself the question, why did she need their birthday? Start to ask yourself that. That doesn't make sense.
No. And
why did she need their birthday?
That makes me want to punch that woman and drag her face into the mud.
You don't need a birthday to win a competition.
No, you don't. And that makes
why
me
was
very
it that
angry.
specific information that determined the competition? Yeah, that's what I couldn't wrap my head around either. Or and like they painted it as, oh, look out, the FTC is protecting you from little old ladies trying to bake kids cookies, and I'm just like thinking in the back of my head,
Why does she ask for their birthday? Specifically their birthday. Just be like,
why did she specifically need their birthday in order to have that competition? Maybe okay, here's a theory. She needed their birthday in order to be able to mail the cookies to them before or during their birthday. That's a possibility.
Why would she need to mail them?
Online competition.
Like, I get that, but it's like...
You're gonna mail a box of cookies, I guess. I don't fucking know.
Won't that shit get moldy, though?
Possibly.
Yeah, no,
Probably
I
get
wouldn't-
destroyed by the postal service, too.
I wouldn't fucking trust them with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, that was fucking sketchy. You do not need a child's birthday to give them a present.
You do not need their, like, home address and shit.
You don't need their home address. You don't need their phone number. You don't really need those things from children. Give me one reason you would need a child's date of birth unless you were a doctor. Or a legal counsel. If you are anything other than those things, what do you need a child's birthday for?
Well, do you think that wraps it?
Yeah, just about. I will go into one final thing about COPPA. Right. What are the possible penalties for violating COPPA? The big one. Everyone's afraid of that $42,000 fine. Am I right, fam? Rule allows for civil penalties of up to $42,530 per violation, but the FTC considers a number of factors in determining the appropriate amount, including a company's financial condition and the impact a penalty could have on its ability to stay in business. So they don't want to bankrupt you. They don't want to completely destroy you. They just want to dole out a punishment. While Google and YouTube paid $170 million in another COPPA case settled this year, the operator paid a total civil penalty of $35,000. Here's where people still got worried. Why did they have to specify that the penalty was only a little lower, like $35,000? When you know for a fact you're not remotely coming to those figures if you had to fine a YouTuber. Maybe like PewDiePie, you could fine him that much, but you're not fining Sharpwing that much. I don't even make, like, if I could make ads, I guarantee from the views that I get, I'd make like $100. We want $50 of that. Just the FTC, we want $50 of that, son. You collected children's private information. It's like, I didn't. YouTube did. Shut up. We don't want those excuses. Because that's another thing, right? What gives you the jurisdiction to say I'm a site operator? I don't have control over targeted ads. I don't have control on what audience they reach. I don't even have control of my reach. And I don't even know what information it was that YouTube was collecting from children. So how the hell am I an operator? That's a flaw in the law I pointed out before. What classifies me an operator? What makes me viable for the advertising decisions of YouTube, which will repeatedly say I'm not their employee, nor are they remotely responsible for me? why is the inverse true then? I think that's just a fuck up on the FTC's part, personally. Doesn't make no fucking sense. Use common sense. Sometimes the law has to be dictated by that, and sometimes it fails. If a law is uncertain, that's the regulator's fault, not your fault. If a law is vague, that's the regulator's fault, not your fault. Stand your ground firmly if you don't believe this shit is specified enough. And do what you think that criteria falls under. And if you got the money, consult a lawyer. But a few of the legal channels I looked at, several of the lawyers flat out said, look, even if I was your legal counsel, I couldn't tell you what the fuck the FTC is talking about. So that helps.
Well, I guess that's it, unless we find out more later on. Right?
You guys have been at it for a while. When do you want to wrap it up? We're wrapping it up now, Gonzo. Yeah, we pretty much covered everything. One more time, we're going to link to the public comment section of the FTC site.
I think what we're going to do, and I think that will help once the stream is over, Sharpwing will make a little, like, description thing, and I'll just copy and paste it to my channel, and he can give it to Gonzo, and we can call it a day. And all the information that you can see is in the description box, but definitely link it one more time before we go away into the ether.
Damn straight.
I can't wait to go back into the universe's anus.
Yeah, we've been living there for a long time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the Syndrome store. Where I can get kawaii shit.
Before we leave as well, we're also going to be linking one last time to the Midnight Media Discord. If you guys want to join that, be involved with the community and be notified ahead of time when we're streaming. So we're also linking that. First link is to be able to give comment about COPPA or ask questions that weren't answered in this stream. But basically, to summarize, the FTC was like, look, we don't even really know what classifies children's content. We have some set criteria, but even then, that's not set in stone, dependent on the context of the situation. So essentially, vague case-by-case basis. This is a law that has to be enacted on a case-by-case basis, and legal precedent has to be set in order to create specifics. Which, you know, it may not be the answer a lot of people are looking for. But that's just how some laws be. There's nothing you can do about it. Especially when the regulators aren't aware of what it is they're trying to regulate, the size, scale, scope, or what the technology is even capable of. It does not help when you're looking at it from that position. But with that, I'm done.
Alrighty, and with that, we're done too. Wow, this was long, and I am literally drained, and I kind of want to, like,
oh yeah, me
down
too.
for the night. Oy.
Me too.
Anyway, we thank you for guys for coming out. We really appreciate you taking time out of your day, popping in and out, coming in, chatting with us, as well as, you know, letting Gonzo take over his channel. So thank you to Mindless Gonzo. If you're not subscribed to Mindless Gonzo, Jonzo, if you're not subscribed to Mindless Gonzo, please go and click that subscribe button and hit that bell for him, because he deserves a lot more. And Sharpwing as well. Go to his channel, the Sharpwing Legion. And, yeah. Anyway.
Yep.
Definitely go and follow them and hang out with them. And I'm sorry to the people that are watching my YouTube channel. I know we're a little bit lighthearted over here, but this time we had to be really serious because I did this for you guys. I care about you. I want to make sure that you guys are informed as well. And we're all going to learn together. This is a giant learning process for everybody. And this is going to keep evolving, and we're going to try to keep you updated as much as possible. Maybe if more comes within a week, we'll have another live thing. Alright, I think I'm good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just going to link to my channel because you mentioned it. Doot, doot, doot. Oh, that's lovely. Sharpwing.
Jar Jar Wing. You're Jar Jar Gamor.
Sharpwing. Now I'm gonna go play Warframe and build a fucking railjack and forget about this tomorrow.
I'm going to get naked and into the shower.
That sounds nice.
Ah, yes, it is. Okay, I love everybody here. Thank you for all coming out, and thank you, Sharpwing, for informing us people that are not in the YouTubey, subscribey, famous world.
I'm not YouTubey, subscribey, famous. I'm just a smart person.
No, I'm just being. It was a meme. I'm not very far in Sword and Shield. I only made 3 videos about it because I've been busy. Silent. All right, I'm gonna stop now.
Yeah.
I will.